YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We're here with the Dynam PT-17, the Stearman, and this one comes in yellow or blue. We're gonna do the yellow. We're gonna fly it right now. It was fun putting this thing together, so you wanna stick around for that. But for now, this is a ready to fly plane, and we're gonna fly it right now. We've got a little bit of wind coming from this direction, and we're basically gonna do our best and see how things go. Final flight control test. All right, here goes nothing. Oh yeah, she gets up easy. Real easy, nice and solid flying. We can see the LEDs good. So far so good, feels pretty easy in the air. Need you back 3 steps to your right, please. Beautiful. Definitely not quite as dialed in as an AS3X stabilization, but it's pretty good. You need to move back, like I said. Thank you. That's 100% throttle there. 4S 2600 included pack here. Still into the 100% throttle. Rudder is very effective. We could have gotten away with going to the inside hole on the rudder probably. Boy, it's gorgeous. Feel like there's plenty of ups, but not unlimited by any means. It flies more stable than I expected, given the biplane. Gorgeous. Man, look at all the flyover planes right now. Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. Hardly had to trim it. I'm kind of surprised. We must have got it pretty good when we were doing our mechanical trim adjustments. Just 2 trim clicks down. Gorgeous color scheme. Love the livery. The LEDs really do actually help quite a bit to see it. I didn't know what to expect, but definitely feels nice. And just, you know, with ready to fly performance, you'd think it'd be way inferior to what we're experiencing here. And to be honest, it's pretty awesome. I feel like controllability is one of the big issues I have on some of these cheaper models. And to be honest with you, Dynam has really stepped up their game. This thing is gorgeous. It's every bit as beautiful as some of the other brands I review for. Definitely got plenty of controllability in all the axes. I thought we were going to be a little bit more powerful than we are now, but nothing a little bit more powerful pack wouldn't take care of. It's gorgeous in the air. Stabilization's working good. There's full roll. You got to tie a little rudder in if you want it to turn for you. Man, you can really kick that over on its side. It does it just fine. And we're gonna try another roll here. See, it does okay, but it kind of wants to stall out at the top of the turn. Can you come to your right, please? 4 steps, thank you. Okay, let's try just a touch of go, or a landing depending on if it goes. I could have done a 3-wheel, but I just wanted it to be on the mains. Hear the beeping?
Yep.
Okay, so this thing has got a voltage alarm in it, so I'm gonna err on the safe side. About 20% throttle here. Woo! I've had better landings before. But the thing is, my voltage alarm might be falsely reporting low voltage. That thing is so gorgeous. Look at those. These scale details. They're functional, guys. I love the colors. By the way, the tail wheel does just fine. I was really nervous about that, and look at that turning authority. Very good ground handling. And there is a spring up inside of the foam, so you get some protection from that tail dragger. The rudder, in the process of building, we had to re-tape it, and we just did a tape hinge on there. Seems to be holding just fine. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm flying some more. Here we go. Man, you can just get it off the ground with nothing. Look at that gorgeous sky. You need to go back where you were, please. Right, thank you. Okay. That's much further than you were. Woo! That is really cool. It does have a little bit of a propensity to ground loop, but I was really happy and satisfied with the way that bounced. It wasn't more than it needed to be. The wheels are taller than what they show on the box, and I wonder if maybe they've redesigned and added a little bit extra height on those. Gorgeous. About 50% throttle here. Now this thing is a 4S flying plane right now as configured. I do not think you would have enough power on 3S to get this thing around, but it would definitely handle a bigger pack. CG's spot on with the, oh, there's our beeping. We probably should land, be on the safe side. About 20% throttle this time. Let's see how it does in the grass here. Oh, it does pretty good, actually. The landing gear are really strong, actually. That wheel fairing you see is a piece of foam. Ooh, I knew it was gonna bounce when I did that. So the wheel fairing is made of foam, but the wheels, rather the landing gear, are a big steel support. I don't know if you can see that, but it's double thick and it's really strong. This plane is gorgeous. It flies really good. And it, by the way, I didn't talk about the wind, but it's not dead calm. We came off the heels of a really windy day, but I wouldn't say that it's especially windy right now. I would say that it's calming down quite a bit. I almost feel like we should just try this on another battery too real quick. Okay, so let's show the people inside. Obviously, we're gonna go through this in the build. We had a couple of different issues we ran into. We had to re-glue this canopy here, and I used clear tape just kind of hastily, to be honest. The wings, oh look, we lost.
Oh yeah.
How did that come off?
Oh geez.
Oh no, it pulled the bolt out. Hey, could you go find that bolt for me?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Sure, we'll get right on that.
So let's pull out the battery. You can see kind of how I have it pushed all the way up there.
Good thing there's extras.
Oh, there actually are extras.
I think there are.
That's totally true. So what we're gonna do is we'll probably go ahead and just pull this battery out. Let's pause it. We'll get that spare bolt and nut and put that on. And then the 2600, we'll show you what we got for voltage left on it. All right, so we got the voltage. Yeah, we're right at storage level. So 3.8 or so. So basically, my voltage alarm still told me when I need to land. So we're gonna do that again. Comes with a charger if you buy it in the ready to fly. So we're gonna get the bolt, fix that quick, and come right back to you. Okay, so for the next flight, we're gonna do 3200 4S, which is gonna be a little bit bigger, but real estate wise, it's about the same size as the battery that came with it. Now, I don't know if we didn't tighten this or if this thing loosened in flight. Totally possible that the latter happened, but it's also possible that we just didn't have it torqued all the way down. There was a lot of torquing going on, so possible we just didn't get it tight, and that would have been my bad, so apologies, folks. Now, there's no nylock or lock nut or anything like that. It's just basically a nut and then it's sandwiched in there. So let's hope that holds. If it doesn't hold, we'll go ahead and replace it again, I guess. Or we could do some Loctite or maybe a little bit of CA on the outside so it holds it, so it can't come off easily. So this battery, same scenario. They have an XT60 in this plane. Really like the Velcro. Super nice Velcro straps. The smart packs are about the same size, incidentally, as the batteries that go into this plane with the Ready to Fly. Whoops. Did I get that wrong? I got it wrong, did I? Yeah, there we go. Sorry, guys. So this one's fully charged. We charged that in anticipation of this event. Now, the smart packs have an IC3 connector, which will plug in, and I'm going to demonstrate that now. They're kind of an awkward spot, though, I can tell you. These biplanes are always tough to get plugged in. There we go. Okay, so it's plugged in all the way. All right, so we're at 4.18, 4.24, 4.15, and 16.7, which I do not trust that thing as far as I can throw it, which is why it's in the plane today. All right, so just so you guys also know, there's 3 modes. There's full auto leveling, I believe, then stabilization and off. So we're gonna take off and fly. This should give us a little bit longer flight time, a little bit more power. If you wouldn't mind going back where you were, camera crew, that'd be great. Go up about halfway between those 2 cracks there. Okay, here we go, guys. Oh yeah, gorgeous. Man, that thing silhouettes nicely. Gorgeous, gorgeous. So I want to see how this auto leveling works, but I don't want to do it in a precarious spot. Feels like we're a little bit more zippy on this smart pack, which is kind of a no-brainer. Man, that is gorgeous looking up against the blue sky, isn't it? Mm-hmm. This plane is fun to watch fly. And I don't feel like I'm challenged in a way that's unwarranted for the style of plane. I feel like it's appropriately difficult to fly. And when I say difficult, I mean it's not difficult. Okay, so there's auto leveling. There's throttle. Yep, it auto levels when you let go of the sticks. Let's see if there's limited bank angles. Nope, not limited bank angles, but it does come back to level when you let go, which is pretty sweet. That'll help a lot of you guys that's learning to fly. I'm gonna get out of that mode so I don't have problems. Oh man, that thing is good. Definitely has a little bit more juice going. Upside down flight performance is good. Look at that elevator, super symmetrical. We got lots of throw on both sides of the stick. I almost feel like there's a little bit of expo built into this control possibly. Feels definitely good. Man, that is gorgeous. I knew we were gonna get some sweet lighting tonight. I just didn't know if it was gonna be good enough for wind. That yellow pops up against the blue, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. All right, let's see how slow we can go. Using the rudder to slow it down. Full throttle, see how quick we can get up. Like I said, not unlimited vertical, but you can definitely get out of harm's way quick, which is nice. I don't feel like we're getting into any tail spins or anything crazy either. My camera crew's probably not liking filming this because I'm doing some crazy stuff tonight.
No, it's great actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's fun to watch too.
Man, it's a gorgeous night. There's this time of night, guys, I don't know if you know about it, but if you film a lot of videos, look at we're blue and dark, and then coming around, it's gonna get warm and juicy and beautiful and pink and purple and blue. It's just gorgeous. High-speed pass here. Going up again. You can really get that thing to do stuff with just the prop wash, which is really nice. Because if you're not behaving as a pilot, you can still get it to do what you want. Now, I'm gonna say one other thing too about the way we set this up. You could go to the middle holes or the inside holes and this thing would feel dialed in. But I'll tell you what, I like having the extra control authority because I just barely have to move the sticks and it just does it. I mean, how many loops have I done in this flight? Goodness gracious. Nice flat turn here. Look at that sunwash, gorgeous. Do you see this over here? Look at this. Let's do a slower pass here. About 30% throttle, 40% throttle. Man, look at that. Look at that starburst. Is that what that's called?
I don't know.
It's just pretty as all get out. I can definitely tell you that the colors on this plane are not being done justice by the backlighting right now. Because as you can see when I get up there, it's just gorgeous. That bright yellow, it's actually a flat yellow. See how easy it is to see there? Gorgeous, gorgeous. Usually when I get into these tight spots, I prefer to have flaps. Guys, I don't have flaps on this plane, and look at this. Just bringing it in nice and tight. I don't feel like it's out of control. I don't feel like I'm having to overfly it. I don't feel like I'm tempted to crash every time I make a turn with the rudder. You see how I'm using the rudder to get it kicked in, and then I'm just kind of countering it with the ailerons to control the pitch of the wings because I don't want the wings to slip out from under me here. Let's go into the backyard here. All right, we're getting pretty close to the visibility threshold here for the humanoids that are not using the light correction on the camera. Gorgeous. A little bit of pitch sensitivity. I'd like to have a little bit less. I feel like the little teeny bit of ballooning you see, that would probably be me. That's my thumb. I think if I had a little bit more expo, I could take that out totally and not give up anything. Nice little three-wheel landing. Oh, dang it. Let's taxi it back on the runway if we can. Get some speed and then chop the throttle. Whew. Okay. We're gonna take back off. You wanna go back to this cross here, right there?
Which way are you going?
I think I need just a little bit of trim. Man, there's a lot of torque roll you got to concentrate to avert that when you're flying this thing. I didn't know what to think on this plane, guys. I just assumed it was going to be okay, but I'll be honest, it's a good flying plane. I mean, I thought it was just going to be like okay. But it's good. I was concerned when I felt the weight of the nose, but on these biplanes, you gotta have a lot of weight on the nose to get those things to balance out. Unless you use a gigantic battery, which would be cool. You like that noise it makes when you trim it?
No.
That was a trim. It's got a song it sings.
It's fun to watch.
I think so too. It's fun to fly. I thought it was gonna be an extreme handful because I saw level 3 and I'm like, level 3, really? I definitely think the better battery makes a bit of an improvement. Having the smart pack helps a little bit. But that's not to say that the 2600 that we were flying on stock, there's nothing wrong with it. Oh! You can get it set into a ground loop pretty easy though. Guys, I'm excited for this plane. What a beauty. I didn't know what to expect, but now I know what to expect. Hey, the other thing too is I haven't asked and I haven't figured out, but there might be one. One thing I don't like about this plane, and it's probably just because I haven't figured it out yet, is I don't know if there's a throttle cut. And that's a big prop, and you are right up in its business when you carry this plane. So be super careful. I'm a big believer in throttle cuts. Now, if I were to review the Dynam programmable or computerized transmitter, which I'll probably be doing in the next few weeks. Next few weeks of production, might not publish for a while. I'm sure they're gonna have a throttle cut involved there. But for now, just be really careful if you get the ready to fly, because that is a big prop and there is a lot of power. It's like 670 kV, maybe it's 640.
675 maybe.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot of power. So beautiful plane, looks good, flies good. We didn't lose our bolt and nuts. Landing gear looks solid. Our tail didn't break. I mean, the rudder, speaking to the rudder. Love the colors. Just, it's absolutely gorgeous ground handling. I still feel like if we did flaperons, you could slow this thing down a ton. The roll rate could stand to be a little bit faster. And yes, I am in high rates the whole time. I have not been out of high rates the whole time. There's a high and a low rate here. I did go to the auto leveling setting. I did not fly it in nothing because I like my planes to come back in one piece. I'm used to flying with stabilization, but you guys should know that by now. The LEDs are a lot more effective than I thought in the Unbox. I was kind of poo-pooing them, saying they're not very bright. Probably because I noticed the green one. The green one is inherently going to be a little bit less bright. But look at that. It's super directional though. You see that? See how crazy it is? I don't know if it's for you, but it feels like a laser pointing at my eyeball.
Yeah.
So that's actually a good thing. They must have used the same LEDs that's on the Charger.
They might have. It is, you can see it from the front and the sides.
Yeah, I think like a tail light would help with orientation.
I'm not sure I would fly it any darker than what you're flying now.
No, I don't think I would want to go any darker.
This time of night makes me nervous because of the power lines in the trees. Just because the depth perception gets so weird.
I can see the power lines better now than I could when we started flying.
No, and I'm not challenging you because I like this plane and I'd like to see it fly in the sun.
That is gorgeous. All right, guys, so without further ado, just so I don't hit the controls, let me just put that down. This plane is gorgeous. It's definitely a lot of work to put together. I thought it was probably the most work we've had putting together a plane in a while. Now, that being said, it wasn't, you know, like really hard. It just took a long time. And I feel like it goes together well. I didn't like this part here. This part is a part you have to glue in, and you'll understand from the build video. We ended up taping around it, and then I put a clamp on here to just hold this side. I had problems getting that side to stay. I would have liked to see that put together for you by Dynam or by Dynam or whatever they want to go by today. See this? See how bright that is? If we pull that off and fill that with CA or hot glue, I bet it would glow way more omnidirectional. But I do like it, but the wings block it out with that opaque paint job. It's not like a foam that glows, because sometimes the foam will glow a lot and you can kind of see it from all the angles. So what else?
And the build isn't anything that's overly hard. It just, there's a lot of steps and the directions are not.
They're very bad.
Super good.
The directions are bad. They're point blank bad, because they go over like the things that you already know.
Right.
Which is frustrating. And then, which is not untypical on some of the Chinese branded stuff. The nose, when we mounted this counterweight, which is removable, you can cut this tape here, and then we actually added a little bit more. That thing comes off. That didn't give us any problems. I was nervous because it was magnetically attached, and I think the magnets might have got attached just a little bit too far forward because there was a small gap up here. We resolved that totally. I didn't have any issues with that tonight, obviously. But in terms of fit and finish, it was better than expected, but there was still some issues here and there. They do provide all the glue, all the screws, and then some extras, which again is confusing if you don't know for sure what you're doing. Like these things, they didn't say where to put them, and they didn't have a picture of it anywhere, so it was really hard to tell. But beyond that, the worst part was putting these things together, because it was super time consuming, but it is gorgeous when it's on there. I mean, it's a really pretty detail. And you just don't see that a lot on airplanes. I mean, you'll see, you know, maybe you'll see these, but you're not gonna see the actual
and they're
functional.
always like kind of fake and cheesy looking.
Yeah, these are
cool.
like actually working. It sucks the wing together into position. If you don't have them, it ain't flying. And I would highly recommend not flying it like that. And then the tail, you've got the same thing, but those ones are not quite as functional because there's springs on it. And I noticed that like when I was taxiing on the grass, the ebb and flow of the foam was allowed not to damage because those springs were on there. So that's really nice. In terms of lightness, it is not a light plane. I feel like it's pretty hefty, and generally that's not good. But the thing is, it doesn't fly heavy. It just doesn't fly like amazingly efficient. You may have noticed too, I didn't hit the low voltage warning on this. I could have flown longer, but as you can see, the sun has gone over the hill. So we're out of light for now, but this thing is great. Definitely a keeper. Dynam, good job. BitGo Hobby, check the link in the description below. Obviously, stick around, watch the build. Maybe you'll do some fast forwarding because there's a lot of screwing these things in. But once you get the idea, because they are not the same, by the way. There's long and there's short.
Yep.
And the explanation you get is very not good.
Not there.
It just doesn't exist.
And we kind of walk through how the brackets, where the brackets should go.
We think we got it right. We think we got it right, but it does look absolutely gorgeous. This is the type of plane that if you don't know how to fly, just buy it because it looks so stinking good. And yes, you can buy them in different finishes. You don't have to buy the ready to fly. You could buy this as a plug and fly if you're a Spectrum guy and you want to put a Spectrum receiver in there. I'm sure it would do great. But I was actually probably secondly most impressed compared to the fit and finish of this model, which like I said, there was some issues, but there's issues with every model. I mean, even expensive models. But on this one, I feel like the receiver surprised me the most because I thought and ready to fly, that thing's gonna be garbage. I'm gonna just wanna immediately throw it away and move on to something better or set it up with the DX18 or the new NX6 or something like that, which would be cool because then I'd have the easier programming that I'm accustomed to. But I felt like it flew pretty good and I didn't really feel like there was a lot that was lacking. If I can get a ready to fly that flies good, guys, at our stage of life, in this review process of bringing planes to you multiple times a week, we love it when we get planes like that. And we will tell you immediately if they suck. But this thing just doesn't. It actually was good. And the other thing is there's lights that tell you how much battery you got. There's not a lot of bells and whistles, but you can flip all the axis, rotate all your servo throws. You can do your high and low rates. You can do VTEL and what do they call it? Like aileron, telons or something. They call it weird. It was supposed to be elevons or VTEL.
Or something like
that.
Yeah,
elevator. I don't know. So an aileron that's also an elevator. I think we typically call them televons, but maybe that's something that didn't translate well in China. So, but BitGo Hobby is in Indiana, from what I understand. And so when you get the stuff from Indiana, that means that the glues that would normally be stripped out of a package when you ship direct from China, you get those, which is really nice because then you're getting the proper stuff that they wanted you to get. And it does seem to work pretty good. So, or just get mucilage and that stuff works really good. Any other thoughts before we go over to the build radio setup?
It's a cool plane. It's worth the build time.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I wonder about that.
Yeah.
And we have other planes we're going to do for Dynam. This isn't going to be a one and done sort of thing. So I'm excited to be able to bring a few of them to you and you guys can make up your own minds. I mean, we review a lot of different planes. And we love them all for their own reason. This is definitely a good plane. I was concerned that it was just going to be just enough to fly. And it would be one of these where, like it's got auto leveling, but it just kind of holds it like really, really solid. It's at the wrong angle and it's ugly. And it looks good on the table, but it doesn't look good. This thing looked good flying. It flew well. It didn't have a lot of bad habits. Part of that was we knew what we were doing when we put it together in terms of like what we thought would be important. And we implemented those things. So it's possible if you got this thing out of the box and you put it together and those wheels didn't spin and you try to fly, you'll be crashing it immediately.
Yeah.
So definitely if you're in any question, go ahead and watch the build video. We'll go over, you see how free those spin?
Yep.
That's good. Ours were stuck solid. We could barely get them onto the axle. So we go over how we fix that. Obviously the tail, the rudder, we had to reinforce this whole hinge with tape. We did it in, 2 minutes. You could have spent 10 minutes and put in a proper foam hinge and you would have had a lot better finish. But the thing is, we just wanted to get something that was gonna physically move. So Worked fine. I didn't notice any problems. In fact, the rudder worked awesome. I don't know if you guys noticed, I did at least one stall turn over here, and I felt like it was just rock solid. So the other thing too is when you bring this thing up and you stall it, I didn't feel like I got left high and dry. I didn't feel like I was lacking for power because this thing pushes so much air across the control surfaces, which is more of a PT-17 thing and less of a Dynam thing. But I felt like they engineered that well. And by the way, one of the most beautiful engines I've ever seen on any plane that I have. So this radial engine is just gorgeous. And you guys probably heard it, but I broke that when I was talking because they have this little detail, this little strap. I don't know if that's like an oil line or a fuel line or what, but I broke that when I was jabbering. It's fine. You're never gonna notice it except that I pointed it out to you. But don't do that to yours. So if you're holding it, just be careful. There's spots where you can hold it and then there's spots where that little strap goes between. Gorgeous plane. Get one. Stick around for the build, stick around for the radio setup. We're gonna timestamp stuff just like we always do. So you're gonna know where everything starts. If you wanna skip over whole chunks of the video, this one was extra long.
But if you're building it,
you might wanna watch.
Figure out the things that aren't in the directions.
Yeah, because the directions sucked. I mean, they did have directions though, and they were full color to their defense. And there was an ESC manual that showed how to program the ESC, which is awesome. So like if you crash this thing, you're like, I just wanna throw all this stuff away. They had a manual, a full manual for the charging system. They had a full manual. I mean, it's like one of these fold out Chinese things. So like, it's probably about 6 pages of 8.5 by 11. And you unfold it and it tells you everything you could possibly want to know and then twice more. But I don't have time to read that much stuff about a transmitter unless I'm really getting invested into it. So if this is your first plane, you're gonna have a bad luck with it. Just don't do this as a first plane. This would probably be a second or third plane once you're very comfortable with the plane on stabilization only. The leveling worked, but it was slow. So like if you're flying this and you're new, the recovery speed to get back level was slow. So that was one thing I noticed. And if you're flying it in low rates, it's gonna be even slower. That's not necessarily, well, it might be the same speed because it's gonna be working based on the receiver, not based on the control outputs. So my thoughts are, if this, don't get this as a first plane, you'll be disappointed because it's gonna come up in about 10 pieces. If it's your second or third plane, you should be able to do it, no problem. Just make sure you're good on the first plane. What else? If you're a Spectrum guy and you're thinking, well, do I get the plug and fly or do I get the ready to fly? I don't know, that's a good question. If you got a good battery, you know, you might be kind of leaning toward plug and fly because you can save a few bucks there and you might prefer the Spectrum setup. But in this case, I really liked the way that radio performed. Now, am I gonna use that radio on another plane? Yeah, never. I'm never gonna do that. But you can, they're bindable. So, other things. I think we're out. We've covered everything that can be covered on this plane.
They might not be able to see you anymore. It's getting kind of dark.
It's getting dark, but that's just the way we do it, guys. This plane is awesome. You may not realize it, but we work hard to bring this stuff to you in a manner that's helpful. And I'm sure some of you guys notice that, but others might not. If you're new to the channel, we've got literally thousands of videos to help you make the right next decision on a radio controlled airplane. Everybody doesn't have enough money to buy 20 planes a month. If we did, that'd be awesome. We don't either. So when you go looking, if you're looking and you're not sure, just search, you'll find it. We'll make sure that you can find it. And when you find it, and if you like it and you buy it, just buy it from the links below and you will help us more than any stupid Patreon account will ever help us. Just do it that way. That helps us with the vendors. It helps us with you guys. It helps us with the YouTube algorithms. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that stuff. But that's the #1 way you can help if you're gonna help us. That helps us get covered for our time and it helps us to cover our expenses. So do that. Stay tuned. YouTube, something new today from Dynam? Yes, that's right. This is a heavy box, goodness gracious. This is gonna be the PT-17. I'm just gonna let it right out of the box because it's right there. PT-17, I got the yellow color and this comes from BitGo Hobby, okay? I've done Dynam planes before in my past and I've had good luck with them. So I'm really excited about this. I wanna see how this thing turns out and I actually have other ones too. So I'm excited for the other ones because I have a longtime favorite that's coming soon too. Oh wow, look at this. This is pretty cool. Specification. let's see. Guys, Dynam has really upped their game, and I'm learning quite a bit about this. Obviously, BitGo Hobby is our connection to Dynam. Dynam is Chinese, just like everything else we buy, and in the RC world, that is. And so the North American distributor for us is BitGo Hobby. So when you want to buy it, you can check the link in the description below, just like all the rest of the lines that I help bring out. This box is really tight. Hope it doesn't pop out funny.
I would help you, but I don't.
No, I don't think the camera crew can probably help on this one. It's just crazy because it feels like a really heavy box. This should be a ready to fly, I believe. So I'm excited to see how they handle that.
There it goes.
It's not gonna pop out, is it?
Nope.
Okay. Oh, good.
No, on this
Okay.
side.
All right. So that was crazy.
Ooh. That's cool. You got which one? The yellow one?
Yeah. So there's also a yellow and blue one. They call it blue, but it's yellow and blue. Man, that looks sweet. I'm really excited to see how this looks in real life. So let's do that next. But I'm just looking at the box. High quality RC products, it says on the end here. What does it say on this? This one is the SRFT or SRTF. So it comes with everything that you need to fly. So that's pretty awesome. It comes with an MSR66A and a Gavin 6A, which is the receiver, and then it's got a 50 amp ESC. That's crazy. So it must come with a LiPo, and it's a 2.4 gigahertz transmitter. Of course, it's designed for outdoor flight. Looks like we lost the spar already.
Yep.
It's made of EPO. This is pretty exciting stuff though, because I haven't had a Dynam forever. The last time I got a Dynam, it was many, many moons ago, and I really liked the plane. In fact, if you want to check it out, wow, that is a long wing spar.
kidding.
Holy crappers. So it looks like it's got a little bit of flex to it, which is not necessarily good or bad or ugly. Looks like it's got a little bit of a bend in it too. So we have many boxes in here, as you can see. It seems like it's pretty decent packaging. One piece of foam here. Oh, it's dividers. It's not even full boxes.
Oh.
So we've got the fuse here. Just being careful because I don't know exactly how this is packed. Really nice finish on it. I like nice smooth finish. I said they upped their game, but goodness gracious, look at the engine on this thing. That's gorgeous. That is really cool. And honestly, I've actually had my eye on a PT-17 for some time, and it just has never worked out for one reason or another. It's been out of stock, or I've been reviewing something else at that moment in time, but this looks really cool. Man, it's really heavy with that motor though. Look at that gorgeous thing.
That's pretty cool looking though.
This whole thing feels like it comes out. Whoa,
Oh.
that's crazy. That thing is metal. You know why they do that?
Nose weight?
Look in there. You can see they got weights in there. I was like, why is that thing so heavy? Okay, so this is the Dynam motor, which is a BM 3526A, which is a 650 kV motor, really big motor. Then the ESC is in there. This feels really light actually, which is kind of ironic because that's like crazy heavy. Canopies look good. I like the flat colors. And the finish is really smooth. Show them the finish on there. Really up their game, guys. The last time I got one, it was the Turbojet 550, and I actually really like that plane. But the thing is, the finish was maybe not, I would say it's not, okay, plywood for the battery tray. Two big servos back there. Can you see the servos? They got a little overspray on the strap. That's kind of disappointing, but not a big deal. Oh, it looks like the battery actually goes in from above. Awesome, I hope.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's got a pin style release. That's cool. This is really strong and sturdy. Really nice finish though. They painted that with like a flat paint. There's your receiver. Nice plywood base. Everything is marked and ready to rock and roll. They have a bind button. That's kind of cool. There's the ESC. Looks like an XT60 connector, but they've got an XT60 with the extra letters. XT60H-M. So I'm not sure what that means, but I wonder if I can plug in my smart packs with it. Not sure. Looks like those servos, can't tell what size they are, but they have all the linkages and everything ready to rock and roll, which is pretty sweet. There's a piece of foam right here that is in front, right there. Not sure if that's supposed to stay in there or if that's supposed to be pulled out and discarded, but I'm just gonna leave it for now. The ESC can probably tuck down a little bit, I'm assuming. Everything fit and finish seems really nice. Look how nice this is mounted. I know that's a stupid detail, but like it's really small.
But it's very like clean.
It's very clean and
crisp
simple.
looking.
Well, there's nothing hooked up yet in the middle.
I know,
But that being said,
start with.
I'm happy with the way it looks. And then a little bit nervous about that. It's not very big. And then this, okay, so here's the test. I bet it's not gonna work unless it does actually work. Usually those things don't work well unless you actually actuate the pin release. Yeah, it looks like the pin release is kind of hokey. Got a little bit of slop on there, but no big deal. I can forgive that because you can't actually push it down, which is nice. Usually you have to release them or it bites into the foam. Case in point, I had a recent plane I did, the Mull, which I lovingly called it the Molly. Actually it had that style. Man, that's like way heavy. Okay, so we're gonna lay that down. Sorry, that was way more than I normally do on a fuse, but this is kind of a new brand for us, even though it's not a new brand. It's been around for a long time. Okay, so this is another box of goodies. I feel like this is probably another component for the plane and not necessarily a transmitter, but we'll find out. Yeah, this is stuff, okay? So we got some wheel pants or fairings probably. Okay, we got the pieces that go between the wing made of stainless, it looks like. That's crazy. Oh, that's really cool. This won't take long at all. Instrument panel stickers, which is kind of cool. Yeah, they're not installed though, which is kind of not cool. Then what's this? What is this? This is the receiver flashing on. Oh, it's the LEDs. Whoa, that's cool. I think. I'm not sure how that works. Okay, so we got another hardware sack with some wheels and a prop. It looks like a 13.6, which is made by Dynam. Looks like the foam tires are hard as a rock. That's probably not gonna be so good, but beautiful landing gear, really sturdy, really robust. And then of course another wing spar, probably for the horizontal stabilizer. Okay, so then there's the bag of electronics. Looks like a bag of springs. And then retainer clips, I believe, probably for the wings. Oh yeah, buddy. They gave us glue and fasteners.
A lot of glue.
That's good. No, seriously, like you don't always get glue with planes. When you need glue, they ought to send them. But when you buy from China, and it comes directly from China, you don't get those things. But when you buy from a North American distributor that's in, I believe, Indiana, then you do get those things, which is nice. So that means when they import this stuff, they're bringing it in and they're following all the proper channels. Okay, look, comes with a Dynam battery, 2600 milliamp 4 cell. It says 14.8 volts, 25C discharge. You can tell it's 4 cell by 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a black. It's got an XT60 end on it, and it does come with a charger. So let's actually bust this open so we can get it charging. Now, obviously, you guys know I'm kind of a smart battery kind of guy, but look at that, that's fancy. I actually really like that they have not a totally crappy charger with this. For being a nicer, ready to fly, how does that work? This is a balance charger, so you plug in your XT60. Oh, look at that, that's sweet. It's actually a proper charger. That is awesome. So you can charge a 2S, a 3S, or a 4S, and you can set the charge rate 1 amp, 2 amps, or 3 amps. So in this case, you could charge that at 3 amps and be well within your range of suitability. And it does come with an North American plug, which is always handy. Sometimes when you get the Chinese stuff, it's not the right end, and that's really annoying. Okay, it's got a high quality regular plug, just like what you get on the back of your stereo or whatever it is. So we're gonna actually plug this in. If you guys don't know how to use a balance charger, let's do it right now. We can get that thing started. Oh, except hold on. I think there's another intermediary between here and here. There must be a power supply.
Oh, because this is just a regular drum.
This is the power supply here.
Oh, okay.
My bad, guys.
Oh, I thought that's what was in the box.
So we have, so this is actually a really nice power supply too. That's cool, look at that. So this is an AC adapter that's gonna be capable of 1.5 amps max on an input side, and then 3 amps at 54 watts. So it's got a 54 watt charger. That is pretty cool. So 54 watts power supply, I should say, that goes into a charger drum connector here, and then like this. So now obviously that's not going to be quite as fancy as your smart charger. But look at that, we got a red light on. It indicates that it's 4S, and it indicates a status light, probably means charging, okay? Sorry, the glare. We can see it perfectly fine in person. Actually, those lights are very bright. They're kind of blinding, actually. So when you unplug this, then it just stops, see? But it can tell that it's a 4S pack because you're plugged in there, okay? So we unplug that, and then the light goes out. This is just a regular plain Jane 25C is nothing to write home about, folks. But the thing is, if you don't need 50C pack, that always helps on the pocketbook a little bit. Let's just compare it to one of these. This is 2600 milliamp hour. This is a this is a 4S. Okay, so this is a 3200 4S. Just to give you a size comparison, the smart packs are way smaller, which is really nice. But look at the difference in size. This is almost exactly the same, and it's 3200 compared to 2600. Granted, this thing probably costs 10 times as much, so maybe not quite 10. But anyway, I'm a realist here, guys. I'm gonna show you how it works. Really easy to connect. Oh, look, it's got a green light, which must mean it's going. And then I wanna balance charge it. So I'm gonna plug that in. So it gives me a red light and a status. Let's see what happens. Does it eventually switch to green after a few seconds? I don't know.
Once it's charged, we'll have to keep an eye on it.
Actually, that's a good point. Let's test and see if it's even charged, because it could be charged. I doubt it. It's probably at 3.8 volts. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and use this smart tester from Spectrum. Obviously, yeah, it's real low. So it's super low. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing charging. We'll do it that way. We'll do it this way. Okay. We're gonna charge at 3 amps, and then we'll come back to that in a little bit. So the reason for jumping into that right away is just so I can get the battery charging, obviously. That's everything in that box. So far, nothing seems like it was upset by shipping. So we gotta, presumably this is gonna be like the transmitter, I'm guessing.
There was a little bit of just damage on the exterior box, but it doesn't look like it even made it through to that box
to the like the retail packaging. Yeah, right.
Just your regular.
Okay, so transmitter comes out. Looks like they've got this thing in there to kind of keep the antenna protected. And I mean, it's sturdy. It would get crushed if like somebody stood on it, but I don't think they're gonna be standing on it. Yeah, they're really heavy duty, and they're also within another box. I've seen some planes that are packaged this way, and they don't do a very good job when they come all the way from overseas, and they'll use thinner corrugated plastic or corrugated cardboard. Okay, so decent throttle. It's got a little bit of retention, a little bit looser than I'd prefer, but it's not bad. Okay, so channel 6, that's probably gonna be like for flaps or something, so maybe flaps or mode. Okay, so we got an antenna that moves. That thing does pivot. And we've got an indicator for power. Okay, so aileron, elevator, throttle, rudder, and rates are high, rates are low. Elevator, VTAL. So that'd be like a Televon. Then what do we use? We use 4 AA's. So we'll be putting in 4 AA's. I haven't seen that yet, but it might actually come with the 4 AA's. Okay, I don't see them inside of there. That's empty. And then the transmitter manual, like we're gonna read that. Hilarious joke. All right, what else do we have in here? We have decals. Oh, cool. Ooh. So we have choices there. Wow, these are big plans. Oh my goodness. Their color, full color, that's nice. Directions for assembly. Okay, so they give you a wiring diagram so you can tell how things are set up. They show the center of gravity right here, 75 to 80 millimeters from the leading edge of the top wing. If you're gonna check the CG from the top wing. They show the assembly here. Looks pretty straightforward stuff. And then they show you where the stickers go. And then they also show you how much deflection to expect from your controls. And they also outline all the parts. And then on the back, they have the same in another language?
Some sort of
Looks like Chinese and English. And then this is English only. So it's called the Stearman PT-17, which is the Dynam 8977. Okay, cool. So what else do we have in here? We have a little bit more stuff in the box. Looks like we're probably dealing with wings here, I'm guessing. Okay, found another wing spar. Don't know if this is the same length as the other one. Yeah, it is.
You suppose there's one on the bottom on each side?
Could be. I don't know though. We'll find out here in a minute. Looks like the mounts go into the side. So the top wing might be just a single piece and then the bottom wing might be two. Okay, so nice heavy duty box. So far, no damage whatsoever on any of these pieces, which is to be expected from a high quality plane. Trying to see if there's spars. There's no spar in the middle of that yet, but it looks like we're gonna be using a spar. Okay, but beautiful finish, really nice. These things are sealed on all sides, so they're not opened up, so you don't have to worry about them slipping out. I wanna cut this open. I really like the finish on this. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's LEDs on this too. Sweet. It's a really nice finish. There's not very many of these little mold bumps. Mm-hmm. That's pretty. It's got plastic over the top, so it looks more refined and finished. This stuff is embedded in there. It looks like it's probably carbon fiber. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's carbon fiber, so it keeps the weight down. This is very light wing. On these biplanes, you have to really keep everything but the nose light. Otherwise, you have to use a gigantic battery to get the center of gravity to work out.
Which is maybe why they have that really heavy.
Oh, it's for sure. Absolutely why they do. Okay, you got the other wing. Definitely the top wing. These two just key in together like this. So that's pretty straightforward stuff. Yeah, you're right. Looks like that rod goes between here. I don't think there's a difference between these two. There's one that's a little bit bigger than, no, they're the same. They're just kind of like different colors on the end. Okay, then there's this thing, which is gonna go on the bottom after we put the spar in. Okay, then we have, this is probably the bottom wing and the tail section. Vertical stabilizer, horizontal stabilizer maybe? I don't know, we'll find out here in a second. Okay, so here is the bottom wings, which have the servos in them. That's cool, they're clear so you can see in there. That's really nice actually. Kind of wish more of the companies would do that because then we could tell when there's a stripped out gear because sometimes you can just see it. That saves you some trouble.
Yeah.
Really like the finish. Definitely gonna need a wing spar in there, and I believe we are the ones putting the wing spar in. This thing might be loose, so that's pretty cool. I would really like to run flaperons on this if possible, but I'm not sure if it's the top wing or the bottom wing that has the control surfaces. Some planes, yeah, it looks like the bottom wing is gonna have the control surfaces. So because these are an outboard aileron, but it goes almost to the inboard portion of the wing, I found that flaperons work pretty good on this type of plane. So what was that plane that my grandpa built? It was a SIG. The SIG, I forget what it's called, but it was a biplane similar. It's probably a little bit bigger than this, probably 1.5 times as big. But that plane we did flaperons on it. It did work pretty well actually. But they were full length wing ailerons. Okay, so the last box, which is gonna be, and these boxes all fit in here tight, so there's no slop. The only thing that was sloppy was this piece, and that's definitely the sacrificial lamb of the packaging. Okay, we have a horizontal stab here. Looks like they're not mechanically attached. There is a spar in that one, so it's got some pretty good strength to it. Got to keep in mind when I go to bend these things, I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of how strong they are, but I understand that the forces I'm exerting on there may actually be more than what they're going to experience in flight. Okay, box. And then there's more in this box. All right, so there's the tail, the vertical stabilizer and rudder. It's in a bubble wrap package. Oh yeah, really nice. Wonder how well that pinch hinge is gonna hold up. Seems like it might not be super robust. Oh, it's got a tie point there for strings to go between the horizontal stabilizer and the vertical stabilizer. Looks like a nylon, maybe plastic place to receive a bolt. Okay, so that's everything. That's the whole unboxing. So we're gonna clean up and come right back with the build. All right, folks, so we're back with the PT-17 Stearman in the yellow color. We're gonna do the build now, and this is the transmitter that comes with it if you buy the ready to fly package. And the only thing, I think the only thing that didn't come in this model that I thought might is the 4 AA's. Every single other thing, they came with an Allen wrench, it came with a Phillips screwdriver, it came with 3 different bottles of glue, it came with everything. So if you're getting this as a ready to fly, it's ready to fly with the exception of 4 AA's. So, well, evidently that's on.
Okay.
So there we go. Okay, so we'll shut that off so it's out of the way. We know that we have the batteries in there. By the way, there's drawings for the ESC. There's a drawing for the receiver, which I believe has stabilization on it. 3 modes of stabilization. Then there is paperwork for the charger. There's paperwork for the transmitter. There's paperwork for the assembly instructions that are full color. So in our case, the instructions, we were just kind of looking them over off camera. And what we were finding is that it's not super complicated, obviously. You got step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and then step 5.
Sure.
Okay, they do talk about all the parts. We have an attacker on the camera.
Step 6.
Take the cat off the counter. That cat is so into this plane, it's hilarious. So at this point, basically what we're looking at doing is we are going to start by getting the nose ready. Okay, they're saying you have to glue this counterweight assembly on, but for whatever reason, we don't have to glue ours on. And that might just be a nuance in the drawings, but I can't see that it needs to be glued on because it sure appears to be glued already. Glued, glued, glued. So I don't know what to tell you on that. Mine was glued. Yours might need to be glued, so check on that.
And if they have magnets, you wouldn't glue.
It's just kind of a weird thing because it's heavy and the magnets hold it on, but then if you need to work on the motor, it's accessible, which is really nice. I'm just a little bit concerned that it's gonna be like secure, but the prop is gonna keep it on there. So anyway, so there's some parts in the parts bags. I tried to lay these out kind of the way they came out of the bags so that you can see. There were some control horns separate from other control horns, and these control horns came together. And there was 2 pieces that came in here that looked like they went with the prop. So you can see these 2. I'm assuming those are the ones that go on the prop here. But again, I'm not 100% certain exactly how this works because the drawing is not ultra clear on exactly how this is supposed to go. So if you look at the drawing, they show the internal rope thread, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And then of course they show the prop, but they don't give a close enough detail as to whether or not this is supposed to go on there first. It's not machined to go together like that, you know? So normally I would say this would flank the rear of the prop or something like that. But I really am not 100% sure. This could be used on something else, but I don't know what else it would be used on this application. Mm-hmm. So it's possible that this was just part of the design feature, like it's an option. But in this case, I'm thinking that you just throw that on there and then this gets tightened on.
Would that piece go on first before the prop?
If You mean, does that go behind the prop?
Yeah.
No, because it's not machined for that either. But I mean, we could try it. Maybe that's what it takes to space it out. That's where the drawing being a little bit closer would be handy. So it does definitely fit on that, so that's possible that's what the deal is. That does get it out into the threads. So now it's going to be a little bit challenging to hold on to the motor as I try to turn this too, because you see the motor wants to spin on me. So I'm just going to try to, we'll probably use this plane stand so that we can hold it. I need to adjust my plane stand actually so that this thing can fit. And I think on the last video I mentioned that this thing didn't slip very easy. And so I'll just show you what I'm talking about. It adjusts, but it's, I mean, you gotta have some strength behind it. Okay, so now I need to figure out exactly how to stop the rotation of the motor. I'm gonna try to use the provided tools just to show you guys if it's possible. If I run into major problem though, I'm not gonna hesitate. I wanna try to give you a fair crack here. So I'm using the screwdriver to just reach in there and kind of brace the motor. Okay. So now that I've got that most of the way torqued down, well, that fits really good in that hole. Of course, the motor wants to spin on me, so I have to figure out some way to brace it. So remember how I told you 30 seconds ago I was going to try to use all the tools that were provided?
30 seconds.
I'm just going to use, it wasn't quite even 30 seconds?
No.
Dang it. I'm just going to use the landing gear to brace the motor. Okay, so that I got it held good now. That does look pretty sweet. I'm just concerned what's going to happen when this breaks free and it's like flying. I don't think it's going to have an opportunity to break free, but it looks really gorgeous.
It does look cool.
And it's like, it's just incredibly heavy though on the front, which is weird.
Yeah.
Not used to that. I like the way it looks. Okay, so now the next step, of course, is going to be, what are they recommending we do?
The tail section.
Well, they got the landing gear already installed, so I guess that's step 0.
Yep.
So step 0, let's flip it over so we can put the landing gear on. Well, except, wait. Are the wings already installed in that picture?
Well, yeah, it's like done in this picture.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm not sure if the landing gear will go on first. I think they will. They appear to be a little bit forward of the wing mount. Look at that gorgeous backdrop out there.
I know.
That's
it's
so
super
pretty
tonight.
That's cool. As it gets to be in winter, the sun sets way over there. And, okay, so show the people at home what we're doing there. It is an absolute obvious thing there. And then this plate must be the plate that goes down here that holds all that in. So then I got to figure out what screws. Then I don't know if these are considered wheel pants or if they're considered wheel fairings, but they go like this. So I would say that's a fairing given the nature of its shape. And I'm thinking you glue that in there. They show that?
Well, I mean, there's a couple spots that mention glue, but I'm not sure.
I think you probably glue that. I'm a little bit weirded out by these things though, because it seems like the oleo would be the other direction, but I guess I don't know on this plane. The oleo simulated strut thingy here. Not sure. So it looks like that'll work though. I'm just gonna flip this over and see if it looks any better. Looks fine. Okay, so then hardware. This is where we get to play the guessing game a little bit. There's a number of these black screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then from the other bag, there's 9, 10.
There's 10 holes in that thing.
Well, I would say that we should probably go out on a limb then and use these. So guys, we have done other assemblies of much, much more annoying things. And process of elimination assembly instructions are good. These are pretty good instructions, but to leave out that step is a little bit weird in my book.
There's nothing, I'm going to show them this while you're trying that. There's nothing on here that indicates what any of the screws or hardware.
Oh, right. They don't mention, well, they show the separate canopy too.
See, this says landing, I think that's supposed to be gear, it's spelled wrong. Fixing and latch, but that's not like anything like what we have.
Right. Well, I'm just going to screw these in right now and just hope for the best, knowing that they're screws and they can be undone. Makes me feel a little bit better. They're definitely biting. These are the reasons why you watch an unbox and build video on Brian Phillips RC, because you get to watch me struggle and enjoy the whole process with my wonderful camera crew who loves it even more than me.
Is it like April 1st?
No.
Or no.
No, this build is going to be a little bit more involved than some of the other ready to flies that we've done, but I really like this plane and I'm excited to see it fly. I think it's going to fly well. I hope that the CG works out good without having to add any weight, because there's quite a bit of weight added already. Mm-hmm. If you try to fly a biplane tail heavy, you can say bye-bye to your biplane, because it ain't coming home. Mm-mm. Unless you're a really excellent pilot. Or it's a 3D plane, so it's designed to fly on its tail. So, okay, seems like a lot of screws, but
You don't want your pants to come off.
well, I mean, true. I mean, well, not necessarily. It depends on what's going on. I'm thinking that in this case, the wheel fairings or the landing gear fairings are going to have to get glued next. What do you think, camera crew?
I think so.
We might as well just get the fuse done, because it's definitely out of the way of the wing. It's not interfering with anything.
Right.
So it really doesn't matter which order we do it in. Except you want to get the fairings done before you put the wheels on. I think it'll be just a little bit easier. So now these each individually have their own poker tip on it. Mm. Obviously they come unopened like so. So you can run the poker tip in there and it pierces the bottle. Yeah, it smells like rubber cement. So it's just like, you know, your regular Chinese white glue or your Chinese rubber cements.
And
Okay.
if you're from watching at home, don't smell your glue.
Don't smell your glue unless you want to know what it smells like. And then don't do it because I said so. I always smell it to see if it's fresh. I do. I do. Yes, I heard it. Okay. Do you see your cat over there?
I know. She's like.
She is so into this plane. It's really weird. I wonder if it's maybe just something about the color or the shape that has got her all freaking out over it.
She's been weird all day, like super nosy.
Maybe she's trying to find another cat. Hey, get off of the screen. Sorry, you guys can touch the screen. But the cat was jumping on the screen.
The cat's not.
So we've got that glue in place. I guess technically you wouldn't have to glue it at all, but I glued it.
But there's nothing else that really holds those on, right?
No, not that I can tell. I mean, just there's a little bit of pressure fit on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this collar, this is a wheel collar. I almost feel like this should be. Ooh, is that even the right size? I don't know if it is. It's not in there very good. I can't tell if I even have the right size here, camera crew. Maybe it is. Yeah, there it goes. It's on there. So now I got to figure out how this works, because these wheels, there was only one wheel collar, okay? And so look, there's one with vertical lines and then like a nut, and then these are just plain. So I'm not sure which way goes out. Honestly, I'm probably gonna guess wrong. So we're gonna slide this in. Boy, it doesn't want to go in very far, does it? I wonder if I'm just caught on an edge, like a lip or something. Okay, we're gonna try the other way. Boy, it doesn't like getting in there at all. This is when I'm about to stab myself. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that sounded bad. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, so I just got a little teeny bit. I don't think that's going to be free enough to spin. I wonder if I'm going to have to run a drill on that or something to get it to spin free. Because obviously you want it to be able to spin when it's on the ground. Because if it breaks, this thing is going to want to nose over like really bad. Okay, so we'll just tighten this. This does work. It's just kind of hard to find the hole. There we go. You got to kind of just grope around until it slides in. There we go. That's, see?
Yeah, like doesn't spin at all.
It doesn't spin very free. We may have to lube that up. I would say for sure. Okay, so we're gonna flip the plane to this side so we can do the other wheel. Anytime you're doing wheel assemblies like this, if you ever have one that doesn't want to go in there and spin free, you can plan on poor results. So do what it takes to make them spin free. But sometimes it seems worse. When you get the weight of the plane on there, they'll spin okay. It just depends on the plane. Okay. So I think I did this out on the other one. There's a different pattern on this compared to on that. So I don't think it makes a difference. Maybe it does, and I just don't know it. And that whole assembly is keyed, so you really don't have much flexibility on how it gets mounted. So I was saying I thought these were backward maybe. They're not backward. They're for sure not backward because they can only go one way. Okay, so we'll just run this. You want to make sure you don't put any extra pressure on that at all from the collar. There is not a keyed position on there either, which is something you want to watch for. Because if there's a flat, you want to hit your jam bolt or your screw or your set screw rather into the flat. All right, so that's on there. I don't know what these things are yet. Are these handles? Did they show that in the drawing somewhere? Honestly, I think I should know, but I don't. They're small, like this. Well, we could also look at the picture on the box. That might tell us.
That's what I was looking at.
Okay, so the picture on the box doesn't make it blatantly obvious. They do have a little bit different landing gear on this plane. Looks like there's a yellow on here. I don't see it in the real plane. I'm not sure what to think. Maybe if we get done and we haven't figured out where they go, then it can go nowhere. Because I don't see anything on there that looks anything remotely like this, do you? Okay, so we'll come back to that. I'm sure it's a scale detail. They want it on there. They wouldn't have spent the money to put it in. So we'll come back to that. All right, so we have some decals. Normally I don't mess with decals. They do actually list where the decals go to, which is super nice. So we'll go ahead and throw the decals in here. Which one's which? There's a 6 and a 7. There's one that's bigger than the other. So I think they don't indicate these ones for some reason. 6 and 7. So which one's wider? Looks like the wider one might be up front, but it's kind of hard to tell. So we'll just try this. I'm going to take it with the backing just so I can see what one fits better. Shoot, I ripped my decal. That's unfortunate. See? No, not really. I just want to see which one fits. Looks like that fits in the back pretty good. And then that would probably fit. Looks like it might fit just ever so slightly better in the back. But it's got to be a pretty subtle difference. See, I kind of stretched that out. Definitely got to put the instrument clusters in though. That'd be like cheating big time to not do this. And by the way, you don't want to do this after the wing's on, so get it done now if you're gonna do it. It's gonna be a lot harder with the wings on there. That looks so cool. Mm-hmm. It's funny, those little details really can make a big difference on these planes. Okay, so they have an American flag, sort of, but not really, because it doesn't have enough stars. I guess they didn't want to pay the royalties for that.
Colonial American.
It's like a super early colonial American flag, except I'm pretty sure they didn't have that design. Yeah, that's definitely how that goes. So the narrower one, which is 7, goes up front, and then 6 goes in the back. And then, of course, we have the rest of the American flag stickers there. All right, so what's next? We have to assemble the tail section, and we have to assemble the wings, and they're recommending the tail section next.
Mm-hmm. It's step 2.
Okay, cool. So the tail section, this is pretty straightforward how that goes together, because that just slips in there, but I'm not sure if it needs to be glued because it does look like it's got screws that are going to pass through. So obviously at some point I need to stick that down there and slide this in, and then there's a key that it drops back here. Okay, so that's all together. And there's control horns that have to be installed on this. And the control horns to choose from are as such. There's these ones, which look like they're the same. All of them look the same. Yep, there's 3 in each set. So I don't know if maybe we just got extras. Yep, there's 6 total. So we're gonna need 1, 2, 3 on the back, and then we're gonna need 1, 2 on the wings, right? No, actually they're already installed. So we must have just got extras. Okay. So that's fine. I never complain about extras on this stuff. So in order to attach those, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. And I believe these things just screw straight through the fuse, and then they are received into that plate. Okay, so there's not like a nut that goes on the back, because these nuts are actually quite a bit larger. Let's verify my theory. Yeah, see, those are bigger. Mm-hmm. So you don't use the nut. What does the nut go with? These shorter ones? No, those are machine screws. They drill. These ones do receive nuts, okay? So these will go probably through the wings, and then these go with the nuts. See? This process of elimination assembly. Oh, tail wheel. We might need to address that before we can put the tail on. This is not going to fall out. There's enough pressure on it from just squeezing that in there that it's going to stay put. Okay, so the tail wheel slides into this slot, okay, and then there's a hole in the side that allows you to set the set screw. Looks like the set screw needs to be backed off before I can even put that in there. See this, guys? I don't know if it's Phillips or if it's the hex, or if it's something else. I can't tell. Oh, it's just not lined up, guys. I got to go back a little bit. Mine is kind of back off center. Okay, so I just backed that off a hair, and then this drops down. That's pretty straightforward.
So the set screw's already in there.
Set screw's already in there, but my hole was misaligned. Show them how I've got this held to the back. Mm-hmm. Now yours is probably not going to have that issue, but mine did. Goodness gracious, how much am I going to have to thread that? I don't think I'm keyed into it properly. No, I am. So now when we actuate the rudder, then this thing is going to pivot. That's pretty cool. Looks like it's going to kind of mar the foam when you have a rough landing, though, because as this squeezes down, and plus that's going to move. No big deal. That'll be fine because it's going to be unnoticeable All right, so the next step is we got to get control surfaces mounted on the tail feathers and the rudder. So obviously the way this works is pretty straightforward. You're going to have a control. This is the backer plate, if you will, and you pass through the control surface, and I want the flatter side to be, well, actually the flat side might need to go onto the foam. And you only need 2 screws per side or per control horn. Okay, so there's this direction or this direction. So I'm going to let you guess which way it goes, camera crew. Does it go that way?
Yes.
And then over here, same thing. Okay, so there's actually a little bump that holds it there. Some people will glue those on. I'm not going to be gluing that on. I'm going to be screwing it on for sure. So in this case, I assume the screws drop through the top. And let's verify that by doing it. See, the screws are going to drop through the top. Yep, see, they're loose. And then they bite the backer plate. Okay.
Okay.
So in this case, if you'll look, you see how there's 2 holes here? There's like a little recess. There should be a hole in a hole. That lines up differently than what this looks like. So I'm just double checking to make sure nothing's screwed up. Because see over here, it's molded with those 2 little bumps in it. So that's dropped in there. This appears to be the other way. So I wonder if these are left and right. Show the people at home what I just saw. Whoops. Do you see what I just saw? There's a left and a right style. Okay. See how that works? So you can actually pick this for one side and that for the other side. So let's go back and verify my thoughts. Yep, that's right. Good thing we checked that because I was about ready to put the wrong one in there. Okay. So I'm going to slide this through. Then we're going to slide this one through. Now we don't have a backer plate on there yet. We're just pushing those through to pin it in place. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Just slipping them in, real easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, so once those are in, then these backer plates should be ambidextrous to a certain extent. So one's going to be like this and one's going to be like that. So I'm just going to hold it under there with my index finger. And then I might need to squeeze it a little bit as I start the screws. Oh yeah, real easy. That works super nice. This reminds me of the Supreme Hobbies ones, except they actually work. Okay, so then that allows you to move the control surface, which is a pinch hinge without an embedded hinge. So you'll want to kind of work them a few times if you can. Well, not if you can, work them a few times, period. You're going to want to. I'd really rather seen a control rod that went between the left and the right side to keep these control surfaces tied together, rather than having them separate like these are. That's a little bit disappointing. I mean, it's forgivable, but it'd been nice to see that. Okay, so these long screws have got to be the only ones that are long enough to reach. So let's show the people at home what I'm talking about. I checked the 2 different packages. You can see they're the same length. So these have got to be the ones that go on to hold that tail section together, because they're the only thing that would be remotely long enough to reach. And they go straight into plastic. So you can see with that sharp tip, that's going to be what's generally going to go into a plastic block.
Are you gluing or not at all?
I'm going to try not to glue. And
Okay.
if it's questionable, then we'll think about it.
Okay.
Okay. This is where it'd be kind of cool if you could see like maybe oh, it's pulling it in. I can feel it.
I can hear it.
Oh yeah, it's pulling it all together really nicely. This screwdriver works nice too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I make fun of the Chinese screwdrivers, sucky screwdrivers.
And sometimes they're your
And sometimes they're awesome. Like this one's like fits your hand really nicely. And it's just simple, but it works really nice.
Well, it's long enough to like
hit the spot.
That's not what I was going to say, but close enough.
So now we need to get the control arms attached on the rudder. So we got to figure out which side we need. So
okay.
Let's do that next. The rudder is hooked up here. It's not a push-pull system, so you just do one side. It looks like it's actually supposed to be the other side, meaning the one that goes up. Yeah, see how that's going to line up? Ooh, that's actually wrong. It needs to be the other one, because the other one's going to bring it down, and then it's going to miss the horizontal stabilizer. Mm-hmm. So guys, be careful. This step is a little bit tricky. It's not hard to figure out. It's just, you got to know that there's even something to worry about. That's why you watch these build videos. So you can watch me do it. And then if I screw it up, you can put it in the comments for the next 10 years. Okay. There you go.
So you want the control horn with the part on the bottom, which looks like the top because we're upside down right now. It's hard to see because it's black, if people are questioning.
Like she said.
What?
I'm just thinking, I'm not sure if I can reach through the foam on this one necessarily. Nah, maybe.
Oh, really?
Because I'm having to really squish it to try to reach the screws through. Because you see, these things are only so long. And I grabbed one that's short and one that's long. Mm. That's where I screwed up. So there's short ones and there's long ones. And it looks like the short ones are probably a different thing. So I got two that are the same length. Well, actually I got two that are not the same length.
It's really hard to tell.
It is really hard to tell. See, look. See, that one's a head longer than the other. And this one looks like it's longer still. And then this one is shorter, than the lot. So I would say we'll just take the two long ones for this. We'll make sure we have the right backer plate, which we do. That should work. And since we haven't hooked up the elevator, it makes it a little easier. See, now I can definitely push through and reach to the threaded area. There we go. Yep, it's biting. Good. I can do the other one. There's only 2 screws to deal with. Some of these things have 4 screws, and the instructions will usually tell you just to use 2 of the screws, but then you always got to think about it, and I'm like, nah, I'm just going to use all 4 screws to be on the safe side. Okay. I'm going to give them a shot of the back side, or maybe like down low where they can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. So that's on there. Now I don't see any rubber hose in this kit. And I see a million other things, but I don't see any rubber hose. And normally there'd be like some rubber fuel hose that would allow you to kind of make a retention thing, doohickey. I do not know which hole we're supposed to go into. The instruction manual discusses the amount of deflection, which is something that I usually don't bother with, mostly because the type of planes I build, they have already settled much of that for you. I'm not sure how much rudder we're gonna need, but I'd rather have more than I need than less than I need. Okay, so those are like way, way far. So I'm assuming I gotta turn the servo to reach. Let's take a look. The servo is accessible from the top. I don't think this thing is broken, but it's got a weird like flop in it. See how it flops? I don't think it's broken, but it's just weird. Yeah, see the servo is just pushed back. See that? So I just push that back all the way. Or, well, all the way to the center. Okay. And with that in the center, we're still a little bit off from reaching. We're gonna have to center these surfaces. So I guess I'll go to the inside hole until I figure out differently. Those are just the snap style. They're pretty strong though, so that's good. Now you definitely wanna make sure these are equidistant, because like right now, this one is way up and that one is pretty close to level, okay? Can you turn on autofocus, please, so that that doesn't stay out of focus? Oh, that feels good. I'm gonna pop this one off and just do a little bit of course adjustment right now. They're pretty challenging to undo. That's good. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this and turn this and turn this and turn this. And then I'm gonna just look at that. Nope, it needs to go out more. But see, the problem is at some point this is gonna come off altogether. So I'm gonna have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna have to go a little bit in and then adjust the other side. Because if I go any further out on this, I'm not gonna have but 1 or 2 threads holding at the very tip of this, and it's gonna have a propensity to wanna rip off. So on the other side, same thing, I'm just gonna push it in this time, because you can go in or out. In this case, I'm gonna go in so that I get better penetration. And just looking, I can tell that this one's down lower, so I need to go in further. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of weird, that rod was kind of moving on me. Okay, so that looks pretty close. I might need to go half a turn more. Are you gonna give them a shot from the rear end here? What I'm looking at is I'm looking at this surface compared to this surface. So the elevator needs to be even from left to right, and so that's what I'm trying to resolve right now. I think I've got it. Pretty close. Now this does not mean that the elevator is in the correct position for neutral controls. So at neutral, it might be a little bit too down low, it might be a little bit too up high, but I just want the left and the right side to be even. Because then you can fix that with trim, and then you can land and then do a mechanical adjustment there. All right, so that's done. This is done. What else do we need to do now? We have to put the wings together at some point. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're gonna need these things. I think we're done with those. I still really don't know what this is.
You know what, while you were talking, I was looking over here. I wonder, there's like a little, it looks like almost a step or something.
Oh, it's
See,
steps.
there's holes
Yeah.
Right
It's
past
steps.
the red in the back.
There's steps on both sides.
Yeah,
So which way does the step go? Down?
way.
Like this?
yeah.
Why are the steps so far back? That's it? Or this is it?
I think on both sides, there's holes on both
Oh,
sides.
cool,
like
look at that. Good
and
job.
then it says glue.
Okay, so those go there. Awesome. Good job, camera crew.
Yep. That's not on the picture, on the box, by the way.
Well, I should have known better. Okay, so I'm gonna just get that on there. Just a little bit of glue right on the tip. And actually on this one, I'm gonna take the tips and rub the tips together. And just get that glue to spread a little bit. They fit really nicely. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, that's
that looks nice.
Yeah.
All right, so process of elimination, we're getting down to a lot less pieces, that's for sure. And that's a good thing, because there's a lot of pieces on this model. We could also stick stickers on it at this point too, because it would be kind of nice to have this stickered on, because once that's stickered on, that'll actually hold the nose on. So let's put it upright and see what we need to do for stickers while we're kind of in this middle step with the fuse. Oh, of course. That's
The steps are going to be right in the way.
Right where I just glued it. We can do this though. Why am I putting it on the stand? I can just lay it on its wheels. Duh. Okay, so the landing, you see what I was talking about? How this thing is so heavy, it makes me nervous. So I'm glad to see that there's going to be a sticker holding that back. Okay. Because there's a sticker that says 607 on this one.
Yep.
And there's a sticker here that says 607. Okay. Sometimes there's deviations from the numbers and things like that. So 607 goes up on the nose. So why don't we do that right now? Okay, so what are they are suggesting it goes there, right?
Yes, number 5.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold this in tight. Looks like it goes right here. Nice. That's holding it in nicely.
That's cool.
Oh, that's kind of a relief because I felt like there was no way to arrest that piece. And I didn't want to glue it.
Yeah.
Because this way I can cut it with an X-Acto knife if I need to get in there. These are nice decals too, they're thick. Camera crew, can you push right there for me? Push hard. Nope, down lower. A lot lower. Here, go here. Push there. Okay. Push harder. Harder like you're trying to break it. There you go. Okay, show the people what I just did. I closed that seam and then taped it. Okay. So that keeps the seam. You see the seam here? I don't know if you guys can see. Right there. There's a crack. So the crack is definitely not ideal, but whatever. It's fine. I could also use clear tape and hold that if I was concerned, but I'm not really that concerned at this point. Those are 2 big decals, and the decals are strong. Okay, so what else do we need to do? We have to do the 607 on the sides.
Yeah, the big 607s.
Those ones are easy to identify, and they go over the red. I really like the finish on this model, and these are nice decals. Sometimes decals, some of these companies really cheap out on decals, and so you get done with the model and it feels lacking. This is not one of those models, although they didn't cut very good on this one. So I'm trying to think of the easiest way to get this, if I want to score it with an X-Acto knife or if I want to take scissors to it. I think I'm going to try an X-Acto knife because an X-Acto knife is going to give me a little bit better control. If I haven't mentioned it before, since we're kind of in between steps here, when you guys buy planes like this from our channel links, you really do help support our channel. So do it, please. If you're going to buy this plane, just buy it from the link in the description below.
That one goes on this side.
Oh, because the white
Goes over the red.
goes over the red.
Yep.
Okay. And there's a difference? Yes, evidently.
Well, I'm just looking at the picture.
Okay, so this is supposed to be below the center. Okay, I'm going to just line it up like this. Whoops. Pretty easy to apply too. It's a shiny sticker though, which is a little bit disappointing. If you could have a matte finish on here, it would work better with the paint scheme, but I don't think anybody's going to notice.
Okay.
Sorry, we had another attack kitten trying to climb our screens. If you guys have cats and they climb your screens, tell us what you do to stop them from climbing your screens. Okay, same thing here. I'm just trying to replicate closely what we did on the other side for symmetry. See, if you guys are wanting to build a plane, this is definitely a pretty easy process. It's kind of fun to put things like this together. For our RC experience, assembly is kind of a necessary evil, given that we go through so many different planes in the review process. And so a lot of people really enjoy that process. And we do, well, I did more before. We did hundreds of planes. But the thing is, I still kind of enjoy this, as long as it's not nice outside and we can't fly because of it.
Yeah.
So,
The
all right, what's
US
next?
Navy, the big US Navy goes behind The 307.
The
It goes
607?
behind the or 607.
That's a 6.
It's okay. I just scroll it.
There's white.
And they're both the same, and I can't tell from the box or the picture.
Well, I wonder if this was supposed to be applied slightly different. Like this one makes sense to be over here because look how it goes. Looks like, so you're saying it goes behind the 607 part?
Yeah.
So like that? Okay, well that's not gonna work very good. Because that's supposed to be on the red and it's clearly not gonna line up. That's fine. We'll just grin and bear it. We'll just pretend like that's what it's supposed to be.
And it's going to be opposite on the other side because the U should have been white on the other
Yeah.
side.
But the U, yeah, most
Yeah.
of the U, maybe not quite all of it.
Yeah.
That's true.
But there's not a smaller navy sticker.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. The decals do make a big difference, though.
If you're seeing it that close, you've already crashed.
Oh, I figured out where the flags go.
Okay.
So.
Normally we don't show the decal process, but since this is like this is our first Dynam pretty much, well, not ever, but for a long time, we figured we would just show the experience, the whole thing. Oh, look at that. My elevator over here. I stuck it in the wrong hole. Do you see? See that? I went to the middle hole.
Oh, you want to be
And
on
then that one went to the inside hole. That would have been a problem in flight, I'm pretty sure. You don't want to do that, guys. Because the plane would have veered off to the, it would have veered off every time I gave it elevator input. Come on now. There we go. See what I did there? Now I just got to see if the elevator is still even. Which, actually, I need to go out a couple now because of that. So, there's, whoops. Okay, so let's see if I got enough. All right, so we got that in there. Nope, still down. I need to go out even further. There's 1/2. There's 1 turn. Okay. That looks pretty close. Mm-hmm. Not worrying about the rudder yet.
Yep.
The rudder's probably going to need a pretty massive adjustment, but that's fine. We'll do that later. I just want these surfaces the same. All right, so what's next on the decal front?
So the flag, the little American flag or whatever, goes on the top, of the tail.
Oh, yeah, on this part.
Yeah.
Okay. Which, that was over here.
That one, yep. Then the other little numbers also go on the tail.
Okay.
Those
numbers?
I'll look
Okay,
at-
great. So now, speaking of numbers on the tail, so this goes up here, like this spot.
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of numbers, you got to put your FAA drone registry number on this plane. It is definitely heavy enough to require the drone registry numbers, in case you're wondering. And yes, these flags start with the stars, and then the bars follow. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, this is from a country that doesn't exist, so
Right.
it's kind of like you would have thought they would have got the American flag right. Pretty sure that's fair use.
So then the N number goes on the front of the tail, and then the V number goes like behind the split, just above the horizontal stabilizer, like that line.
Whoa, is that all one? That is all one.
Oh, it is all one.
Okay, so watch out, and I'm gonna check. Watch out, cat. Okay, so that goes in the center. So this will be like a reinforcement for the rudder. So the way I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna stick this here, just like this. Okay. And then I'm gonna come back here like this, and I'm gonna just stop. And then I'm gonna grab a tool like probably Phillips maybe. Would you grab me that
Screwdriver.
Phillips screwdriver? Yeah, preferably from the kit. Perfect. And then I'm going to walk this in here by just walking back and forth like this. Okay. See how I walked all the way down into the crack? And then that'll help us to reinforce our control surface. Dang, I did a really bad job of sticking that down. Usually the paint comes off if you peel. See how quick that comes off? You got to be careful about that, folks. Okay. Nice. Okay, so
That's cool.
that is cool, and it helped to reinforce the joint too, which is nice. Although I did kind of a really crappy job of it.
This is the other nosy one. She wants to get in the box.
So when we first got the cats, I had to try to teach them about the stove because it's a gas stove, and they evidently did not
They have
learn.
not learned.
They haven't
Kelly.
learned, but they still aren't cat crisps. So
Not yet.
they will be if they keep this up. Okay, so this goes, did I go right under that line? Yes, I did.
Yes.
Okay. So the 2 probably goes right there. Nice. Okay, so kind of the same thing. I'm gonna try to do this properly. So I'm just kind of walking forward and back, pushing it in as deep as I can to the crack. And then I'm pulling this down here. Okay. So then I can just take that screwdriver and just flatten, just kind of crush it in there. Okay, that's pretty sweet. That worked good, actually.
Yeah.
That'll really help to reinforce that. So if it would break a little bit, you would have the ability to get back home and fix it.
So we have to figure out where 9 goes.
What's 9?
9 is the black bars.
Oh, the black bars. I'm not sure. You know what that looks like it should be? Looks like it should be up by the engine, by the cowl. But I
It's
don't.
not even on the diagram.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Well, maybe it's, oh, you know what? I wonder if that one's on this. That's different decals.
It is. And I don't see a black bar. Is there another picture?
Maybe. No.
No.
So where the heck is the bar gonna go? I don't see any pictures on this end either.
Maybe we could look online.
Yeah, it looks like it might fit over the leading edge of the wings, but I just don't see that anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, well we'll search on that.
Do you want to put those big stars on right now?
So we were debating about the wings and how they lay out and all this good stuff. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but this wing, okay, I believe this wing to be the top. The red bars, of course, are going to be on the top of the wing, but this is the part that goes into the fuse, the open portion. Okay, so your decals are going to go on the top. The bigger circles are going to go on the top, correct?
Yes, correct.
So the way that this assembles is pretty straightforward once you sit and study it for a second. We got 2 spars, and I don't think there's supposed to be 2 spars because the tail section was assembled as one unit, right? Because when we put the tail on, there was not like a left and a right. It was just one assembly.
Right. Correct.
Okay, so there was nowhere to slide in. So the wing joiner, we got 2 of them. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe there's another spot where we need a wing joiner, but I haven't found it yet. So maybe they just sent us 2 by accident. So this goes here, right? And so I've got my glue opened here, and I'm gonna pull these decals and move them here. So the way this is gonna work is you have to slide this through here. And my hope is to actually probably glue this a little bit and spin it. And then this is gonna go like that, and then they just stick together. So it makes a nice solid assembly like this, okay? That makes for a pretty strong wing. But you'll notice there's flexibility The flexibility is fine because the bottom wing is going to be sparred. Okay, now I'm not going to glue this spar at all because I think that's like way overkill, but that one maybe, yeah. So this spar is huge, okay? So you're going to get your main structural stability from this spar. So that goes until it stops. Okay, so this is the bottom of the plane, so the smaller circles are going to go down there. Okay, so slide this through. And I'm still not sure if I want to glue there or not. I think, does it say to glue?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
Because I guess honestly you could probably do it or not do it and be fine either way. I think they just sent us an extra spar because I thought there'd be another relief in there if we were supposed to have another spar in there. So I'm not sure.
See, on the supply or the parts list, it lists, like it looks like there's 2 in the picture, but they're 2 of the same length, and we obviously don't have, there's a big one and a small one, but the big one isn't shown anywhere else. So I'm not sure.
Weird. I don't know.
And it's not labeled.
So I guess in this case, you can learn from our screw up if we get it wrong. So we're just going to commit and do this.
Because it doesn't go into the wing, right?
Well, unless maybe there's another, no, it's way too thin. So you see, you just slide this on the surface of it.
Right.
So in that case, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go relatively heavy on the glue here, okay? Because that's all going to get glued in anyway. And then I'm going to spin it and just let that glue work over the surface. Okay, and then for this side, I have to be a little bit more careful because I can't spin it. And I'm just going to slide this shaft through and just get goop all over it and goop it up nicely. Okay, and then I need to glue the contact surfaces, which is going to be here and here and here and here. And then the surface between the 2 wings, I'm just going to do a little teeny bit. I'm not going to go like crazy overkill on that because that could poop out and be kind of ugly. Just like that. And then as I force those 2 together, then I'm going to work them back and forth a couple of times just to make sure I get good contact. And once I get good contact, then I can move forward. So these wires are for the LEDs, in case you're wondering. They just have 2 wires. Okay, so pretty simple. And then over here, we're going to go pretty heavy on the glue on top of that because we couldn't spin it. And then just a little bit more here. And we're going to go pretty heavy on this whole surface because this is a wing after all. And this is why they give you 3 tubes of glue, which is kind of nice actually, because if you have leftovers, you don't waste it all immediately. Okay, so that tube is gone, it's spent. And don't worry, there's not like some glue boss that's gonna come check and see if you used all 3. Okay, so just a little bit of glue all the way around the perimeter. And when I say a little bit, I mean that's kind of a lot actually. But all the high points are going to get glue. Okay. So just a pretty simple, straightforward thing. I'm not gluing any of the sides because I don't want the mess. Obviously, we don't have to worry about any servo wires because the only 2 wires come out here. There's a recess here, so there is a right way and a wrong way. Okay, so you could let that sit, you know, overnight or whatever you want to do. In our case, we're just going to basically assemble it right away. Then we're going to talk about this assembly maybe for a minute because this is, in fact, the top wing.
Oh, that's that.
Mm-hmm. Because on the bottom, you see we've got them together there. We're going to have to glue the 2 halves of the wing together here if we want to follow the spec. I'm sort of reluctant to glue the bottom together, but it's okay because I think it's not gonna really be that hard to do. I just don't wanna make a mess. So just a little bit here, a little bit here, 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 a little bit here, a little bit here, here, here. Okay, so just like that. Okay, so once that's on there, and I can tell you that glue kind of tends to have a little bit of a yellowish hue to it.
Yeah.
Or it might just be reflective of the paint that's on the wings.
I was noticing that, but I'm not sure either.
So you want to be a little bit careful if it's a white plane, that you don't want to get that stuff on the white where it's going to show. Mm-hmm. Okay, so those two faces didn't totally mate up. So if you're getting ready to glue, you'll want to glue the two keys, but not necessarily the full face, because that's not necessary. It's not going to do you any good. This is a controller for the LEDs. I think it's just a little voltage regulator for it, which is fine. Okay, so we got that glued, and we're basically going to jump into getting the wing installed on the plane. Before we do all the hardware, we may want to have the top attached, and then we can lay it down to the bottom. I'm not sure what the easiest approach is, but I know for sure that two of them attach here and go up. Technically, they would be the smaller ones, and see they've got this shape to them because there's only two of the clips that go up from the bottom. So these are going to go like that, I believe. Yep. Or they go forward, actually. I can't tell.
I know, I was trying to
It's
look.
really hard to tell.
It is.
And the interesting part is there's supposed to be a couple of foam pieces that go here, but either we didn't get them or they don't exist anymore in the model. I'm not sure. Do you see it? Yeah. It's supposed to be there. Did we miss them somewhere?
Canopy and supports. Yeah, you're right.
I wonder if we missed them somewhere.
We've been through every
Yeah, we went through
bag.
all the packages. So it's going to be kind of hard to tell which direction this goes here. So these are the screws that are going to work with it more than certainly, because they go into plastic. So you see this? See that? Because you're not going to use a machine screw there, because there's no way to get in there and receive it. So I'm just not sure which way that goes. It's either this one or it's that way.
Wouldn't the top would have to go?
Well, here's how we can tell. Because these two are going to go on the bottom. The front wing rides in front of the back wing, okay? So it's either like this or it's like this. So obviously that's wrong because this is the top wing. Nope. That should be like that. Nope. That's wrong because that's going the wrong direction. That's the way it's supposed to be. Oh shoot, it's hard to tell. Dang it, I wish these things were labeled. That really would be nice, guys, if you could tell which way is which, because it is not very obvious. Okay, so let's try to make a mating pair. Okay, so there's a mating pair. Now let's flip it over and see if it's totally ambidextrous. It appears to be ambidextrous, okay? So you just want them to be the same direction.
But it's...
This wing rides up here in the front, and then the lower wing is behind it. So maybe it would make better sense
To put the wings on.
to put the wing on.
Or
Yeah.
at least the bottom wing.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm not sure how I'm going to tell which way's
Yeah.
which. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears. We'll go ahead and put it on the plane stand so we can have it upside down. Just set it here. Okay, so the Velcro strip, I'm just going to push that down so it's out of the way. And then the main wing, there's an aileron, and they're not labeled left or right, but that's okay because you don't really technically need them. We don't need these ties on here either. These twisty ties can come off. And then we can feed these wires into the fuselage. There should be a Y cable somewhere. Here it is. So obviously at some point, if you decide to do flaperons, then you won't need the Y cable, but you will need the extra channel to control the second aileron. Now, because of the built-in stabilization, I don't want to mess with that yet. I want to wait and see how it's configured, and then I can play with whether or not adding flaperons is going to be a suitable choice. Okay, so plugged in, brown to brown, brown to brown. Okay. The receiver, I believe, is back here, right?
Gosh, I don't remember.
It's on the back.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm going to just carefully stuff the wires up there. Could actually bring the wires either way, but the battery is going to be toward the front, so I think it's going to be wise to have them go around the back. And we'll just pull all those wires out when we get to that point. Really beautiful looking. That's cool. We can do those decals too if we wanted to right now. Mm-hmm. Which ones are on the bottom? The smaller ones?
Go on the bottom.
Okay.
And on the drawing, the red is over further, so the decal is like almost on the corner of it. So I'm not sure where you want to put it, but the smaller ones go on the bottom because they have to go above the aileron.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4 in. Ooh, that's not centered. There we go. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4 in there. That's good enough for me. There's some nice decals. Mm-hmm. They've been relatively easy to take off of the backing. We've had a number of planes that are really bad.
I know, that's a major thing with decals.
I know, I always cringe when I see the decals. I have to wonder if they're going to be any good.
Mm-hmm. Hey, while you're doing that decal, there is a green light on this charger.
All right, we'll talk about that later because I don't know what it means yet. 1, 2, 3, 4. That look pretty even. Close enough? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so we'll just get that all pressed down. You can still see the panel lines through it, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's talk about this battery for a second. So we have a very intense green light, almost blinding green. You can't read the label next to it when it's on because it's so bright. So we're gonna unplug this. Then we're gonna unplug this. I'm assuming that means it's fully charged. Okay, we'll just use our Spectrum Smart Charger. Looks like 16.65. Okay, so I don't know if that's saying like, hey, it's done, or hey, we're just in balance mode. Maybe green means like it's okay to fly, but it's not done. Mm-hmm. So I guess what we're gonna do is we'll go ahead and charge this a little bit more and we'll check it. So we were at like 93% there, and we'll see if it increases after it goes back to the green state. You wanna see this, dude? Look, see that thing? That kind of lifted up on us. Remember how I was telling you might have to put something heavy on there? Mm-hmm. And look, I dented it with my ring. Don't do that, guys. See how it's lifting? See, the glue is working. I just think I need to tack it up more. I'm gonna tape it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Maybe grab the Scotch tape.
Yeah, let's do Scotch tape. And that'll be fine because then after it's set up, it'll still be effective to hold the plane together. There shouldn't be any dihedral on this plane, so on the wings. So this was not provided, but you could use the backing of your your provided decals. Let's show that actually, because this is like super strong stuff. So I just want to put that on there. Whoops. That's weird.
I wonder if those black number 9s went somewhere to like help hold that down.
What do you mean?
If these decals went along here somewhere and it would help hold that down.
You know what? They almost look like they would normally go in front of the pilot, and then it'd be like an anti-glare mechanism, but I'm not sure. So that worked really nice, actually. That worked better than this. So I kind of want to cut another big piece of it because I like the way it works so well.
Just go along the length.
Yeah. So I'm just going to use this as a template. It's not quite long enough to go all the way, but if I go this way, see they've got this little grid marker from there. Yeah, I think our best bet is going to be, let's just cut this whole side down. It is clear, so you're not going to notice it really that much. I think I'm going to go that way also. And again, since it's clear, we can get away with having it not be perfect. But it's nice because you know for sure it's in your kit. You don't even have to have tape.
Yep. I
did kind of a bad job on that. All right, so here goes nothing, guys. Okay, got the backing. So we'll just stick this down. And some of these decals stick really nice. I'm pretty sure these ones are going to stick super nice, but who knows? I could be disappointed. It's happened to me in my life. So we're going to get this one popped free. Oops. This stuff is super tacky, which is nice. So remember, this is not like some structural integrity issue. This is just to kind of hold things together while the glue sets up.
But you're not going to pull it off because you'll peel the paint.
Oh, you'll pull the paint for sure if you do that. Yeah, it'll be bad if you do that. I would not recommend it. Okay, so that's all together. That seemed to work pretty decent. All right, so now the next thing, of course, is to screw on, which it would have been probably smart to screw on the wing before we moved on, but we were trying to take care of another fire at that exact moment, if I recall.
Do you want to put your other star decals on too while you have a more stable surface potentially?
No, I want to get the screws on that.
Okay.
Because that's the most important thing right now. So we got these long screws. I have to assume that's what we need. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna need the long screws, but I could be wrong. Feels like they're reaching down where they need to be. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Let's see if this bites. Oh, it's pulling the wing down. That's great. Okay, so these wheel fairings have pulled back a little bit. So I'm just gonna squish them back into position. This glue allows the pieces to pull away, which is kind of annoying, but it's also not unexpected. I've had that happen before. Definitely biting. I would say that was the correct length, because if it wasn't pulling the foam down, I would be concerned we're not getting a proper purchase. Oh yeah, that's definitely getting purchased. Now I'm just looking at the gap here to make them as even as possible so that the wings are square with one another. Okay, so that's tight and ready to go. And then I noticed that there was a slot in the edge of the wing. I don't know what that's for. Was there anything obvious in the drawings?
The lights are already installed and everything, right?
Yeah. I think we're good. Yeah, there's nothing in there.
I don't see anything obvious.
No, the picture doesn't show it either. So now the next thing, of course, is going to be to put this wing on, which is going to require a little bit of guesswork to get the screws correct. Looks sweet. Mm-hmm. Really happy with the way this is turning out. It's prettier than expected. Okay, I don't know if I want the plane stand or not yet. I haven't decided. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. What I do want is I want those wheels to spin freer. Because you see that problem?
Right.
We may have to take and run a drill through those or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe lubricate the shaft. Because if that thing is as stiff as it is, it's going to want to nose over on us, almost certainly. Okay, so hardware time. This is where we kind of have to do a little guesswork to see how things line up. On the drawing, it looks like the black is exposed on the inside and the V's in the front and the A's in the back. So that would make it like this. Okay?
Okay.
And the V is in the front and the A is in the back, meaning this is an A and that's a V. Okay? And that lines up with what we expected.
That makes sense.
Now, the way that this stuff goes together, there's actually these wing strut lengths. And what I'm doing is I'm separating the shorter from the longer. That didn't work with the crap. See, they just all tangled themselves up. So there's some that are long and some that are short. And I want to know which ones are which because there's a difference. Okay, good. So what does the drawing say? How many of each? It does say, actually. I have 4 of these long ones. 5 of the long ones? No. 4 shorter ones and 4 longer ones. Does that make sense to your drawing?
4 shorter ones, 4 longer ones.
Yep.
It says the concave bracket is placed on the inner side. The Z bracket is placed on the outer side. The 2 sets of brackets are installed on the upper wing first according to the actual machine or the direction shown in the figure. Slowly check the screw holes of the upper wings on the assembly parts of the lower wing and tighten one by one. Pay attention to the length of the decorative steel wire and install it on the concave brackets, Z bracket, and the side of the fuselage after calibration as shown in the figure.
Okay, well that was totally useless.
So, where did you see that?
Yeah, I don't know what the heck to do. So I'm just going to do guesswork. So my guesswork has to do with placement of this.
The only thing that was helpful of that is the concave bracket is placed on the inner side and the Z bracket on the outer side.
Oh, so they're on the inner side of this.
Yes. Would that make sense?
I guess. I don't really know why it would matter. Probably because it won't reach otherwise.
Maybe.
So then the wires go after the fact or what?
I guess.
Phew, this is going to suck. So now I need to figure out, okay, so there's also springs. What are all these things for?
I don't know.
Oh boy.
Why would you need springs?
Yeah, what are these things? That's real awesome. The springs must be between one of the corners? Oh, yeah, that's not it.
They are listed on the spare parts,
But what for?
but I don't, all it says is springs too. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, the instructions need a little bit of work on this, I would say.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about how this is going to mount to the plane. Let's just start guessing and checking for process of elimination testing.
Yep.
Okay, so obviously we have tape here. Okay, so one of these is going to go on the left, one's going to go on the right. We're going to have 4 screws that does. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 that goes there. Then we have extra screws. This is a machine bolt. This is a screw. This is a machine bolt. And this is a machine bolt. And these are nuts that work with the machine bolts. This is a screw. I'm just basically going to go through and sort these and figure out what I have to work with because that might help answer our question. That's a machine bolt from the hardware, like the clevises or the control horns. That's this size, that's this size. I hate this step with a passion. This should be laid out in bags, maybe, would be better. Because I don't like having to sort these pieces when you don't know what you're sorting. And the LED wires have to be routed down the struts or the wing supports. Okay, so that kind of sucks. Okay, so there's some more long screws. Like, what the heck are those for? Do we have another wing to mount that I missed? Okay, so here's some more hardware. That's the machine bolts. Now remember, we have machine bolts. Count how many we're gonna need. 2 are gonna go at the bottom, 2 are gonna go at the top. So that'd be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. If you were doing all of them.
Correct.
But you're only doing 4 at the bottom. So count my nuts and bolts here.
Well, you have 12 of those holes that are black. 2, 4, 6, 8 on that wing.
Oh wait,
and 12
look,
on the other wing.
I bet these are for the tail. Because look, there's 2 long and 2 short. They're for the tail. And then these 8 go on the main wings. So that's where your springs come from, I almost certainly. See this? See how one side is opened like this? And then the other side is going to be with a spring, right? So you see this? Maybe they go on the bottom. Was there a spot for that on the bottom?
I don't think so.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. So there's 2 short and 2 long, okay? So look at this. Look how close that is. That's pretty awesome. So these ones could be there.
But why?
That's just, it's a decorative thing, and it also helps to stabilize it all. And then this, obviously, that is not right. Then there's these things. Look, 1, 2. What is that attached to? Oh, that's where your strings go. So the strings go down to there. Okay.
Okay.
So that would be, and then look, we have these too. See? We have those, which might be how we adapt those to the plane. I'm not sure. Because look, we have all these springs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 attachment points. So my theory is that these things are attached possibly with springs in the back to keep everything true on the bottom and the top. But then why is there not a longer one?
Right.
And then why do we have this thing? That's always not good when you have leftover parts.
Because there's a lot of leftover parts.
Yeah, because there's a lot of leftover parts on this model, which is not necessarily good. I mean, it's good to have leftover parts when you might lose them, but it's bad to have leftover parts when you're not sure if you needed them and you just didn't install them. Like on a real plane, I think they would say you need to have the FAA inspector take a look at that. So there's a total of 4 extra ones that are long. I just can't imagine that being used for any of that stuff. And then there's just 2 of these. See? Only 2. Which tells me that, see, these could screw in with these contact points here. It's like if you screw these in, see, these are the long ones. The long ones go 1, and then these are the short ones. Yeah, because they reach longer.
Okay, I buy that.
So the longer ones need to attach to the plane. So the longer ones are going to go attaching here. Is this where they attach?
I
Yeah.
think so.
That's right. So now this is where we're doing a little bit of guesswork because we don't know what component actually is supposed to attach them.
I was hoping I could find some additional pictures maybe.
Nah. Okay, so that's attached. So now that goes up here like that, okay?
Okay.
Then the second one is going to be in the back. Same exact setup. Pretty easy to get these things in. Some of those.
You're using the right screws.
Well, no, I'm saying they're. Can you hold that tail, please, instead of doing what you're doing? Just hold it so that, no, down on the body of the plane, on the fuse. Okay. I just have to push hard to get it to bite. Okay, so then that's going to take us out to here, and this is going to take us out to here, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Does that seem like it's going to reach? Yeah, it looks like it's probably about right. 'Cause this is going to go up, but it goes up at an angle. Okay. So then, you remember how we figured out the V was in the front and the A was in the back? So it's like this. So those can be bolted on real easy. So I'm certain that this is the bolt we use for that. There's a nut and a bolt, a machine bolt.
Yep.
Okay, there is no lock washer, there is no Loctite, there's none of that stuff. So I'm assuming that since this is carbon fiber, I believe that's carbon fiber, you could potentially use Loctite on this because it's not plastic in contact. So that's going to go like that, but then we have to have the short attached there. Okay? We have to have the short. This is our test side, okay?
Because the screw is going to go through the wire. Or
The
when
bolt
you bolt
and nut.
Yep.
The bolt and nut are going to go through along with this. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, a lot of steps. So just like that. All right.
A really long bolt for that.
I agree, but that's the way it is in the picture. Okay, so once I get it most of the way tight, I'm going to pull it to the vertical position like this, and then I'm going to torque it down. It's actually torqued down nicely. So now let's look at that. Is that where that goes? No, that goes up here. So that's going to go up to the front of this thing. Because nothing attaches but these screws here now. And yes, you're probably thinking to yourself, but Brian, the instructions said to do this or that. And I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to build this thing because otherwise you got to start somewhere. So that's not tight. That's not tight, but that'll at least hold us in close proximity. That goes to the front or the back. See that? This is the short one, hon. So once that's tight, you see?
Yeah.
That's going to hold everything true.
Okay.
Okay? So we need to do the same thing on the back with another short. So the short mounts here and goes to there. The long mounts here and goes to there. Do you get that?
We think.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure too.
I didn't know this was a puzzle also. You know, these details are always really cool, but the thing is, it's like, really? You're gonna make me figure this out and do it wrong 17 times?
Yeah.
That goes together actually like way easier than I thought. Okay, so now that the bottom is attached, now I can see, oh yeah, that's gonna work. I have a strong suspicion that that's going to work.
Okay.
So now in that case, I'm gonna tighten this on. Now this is where I don't know. I don't know for sure if that's right or if that's wrong, but I think it's right. And here's why I think it's right. Because if I went the other way, then this would be lined up even worse forward. And if you look at the way that this goes, we can now test this. Okay, so that's on the outside. Okay, and then this is on the inside. Or maybe that's on the inside, like that. Yeah, like that. That's the way it goes. This is like incredibly tight tolerances too. I'm kind of surprised. Will you? Well, I don't want you to hold that because I want you to film, but it's definitely gonna line up, right?
I think so. See on this one, there's a notch, like right there. Does that help you identify any different thing?
No.
Okay.
In fact, it just casts more doubt and frustration.
That's what I was going for.
So now I need 2 more machine screws. Now, if we end up having used all the screws at the end of this process, then I guess we're all gonna be happy.
That's a lot of screwing.
I mean, it's a ton of screwing. All right, so we're gonna do like the instructions said for a second. Now you see that hole there? That's where you feed your wires through. You see that hole, guys?
Oh, really?
That's hole.
Oh, it is a hole.
Yeah, that's where you put your LED lines to. So I'm just gonna torque these down most of the way, but not all the way, because we're gonna have to be able to finagle these to get to the right attachment points. Now the outside ones I'm gonna do tight. So we know that the outside one needs to have the long lines, right?
No,
Nope, they
short.
need the short ones.
Yes.
So here's 2 short ones. Definitely lay out the short and long ones separately, okay? You're gonna regret if you try to do it all at once, because you're gonna get it half built and you'll be like, nope, that's wrong.
Well, we'll see.
All right. The V goes forward. All right, the screw is gonna go through one of these things, and then it's gonna sandwich into the carbon fiber and then through. Okay, so we're just doing this loose so we can make sure that all the pieces line up. Oh man, I hope we do this right.
I hope so too.
There's gonna be millions of people that copy this.
I have to put a disclaimer. It's a magnetic screwdriver.
Normally I would want to turn the... I suppose I probably could have done that opposite too, and it probably would have worked better. Because I'm not left-handed, this is like really hard on me. Remember, I'm not going to tighten this all the way. I'm just trying to get it together so that it's in one piece. Okay, so we've got that one in there but not tight, and we've got this one in there but not tight, so we can manipulate where all those lines come off of. And then we have to take the long ones, and then we have to attach the long ones here. This would have been like a good time to have some color coding going on.
Yeah, or at least a better picture.
Like a super detailed picture, but how do you take a picture of that? It all looks the same once it's assembled, right? Okay, so this is gonna be...
There's some like numbers on the chart, but they don't correspond to anything else.
They're probably like the part numbers, right?
But they're not these part numbers up here. I'm not sure.
Well, whatever, it's fine. I can definitely reach, that's the key. Anybody who's ever built this plane before should know what direction they go. I think it's kind of cool because they're actually functional.
Yeah.
They're taking lateral load. There's definitely, I mean, they're not just for show, guys. I think you need to install them. Okay, so now we need, should be all bolts and nuts to put the top wing on. So this is where
Because everything is going to have a wire going through it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, which is going to be hard to do. So you could also, while you're at it, you could, while this is not attached, you could try to slide that, your little servo ends through the hole. Because nothing's tight yet, you can still do that. I gotta lay those 2 bolts and nuts down. This is where it helps to have 7 hands. Mm-hmm. If you had 7 hands, you wouldn't be having this problem, Brian. Okay, so that's in. And this one's in. So now that that's in, we can just kind of, well, I mean, you can lay it down. It sits on top of there just fine. So you can see I got the front one is going to go out here. And this is going to slide through there. And I think this one goes on the outside like that. And so we just need to guide that screw through there, just like that. And this is going to be a real bear cat to get a screwdriver into that side. Mm-hmm. We may have to get a super duper long screwdriver, I wonder, for this step. Okay, so just start. See, once you start it, then it's not so bad. That's really cool, actually. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so then this one, just to kind of get things held in position, I'm gonna go to the opposite side. And the opposite side is gonna be the front one. Mm-hmm. And the front one's gonna need to be fed through here. And then folded. And then slide that through, just like that. So you always want to line up these things over your kitchen sink so that that way, when you drop the nut, it goes into the disposal and destroys your disposal.
Mm-hmm. It's just thinking out.
Okay, so that's pretty good there. I'm a little bit nervous because it seems a little bit slack to me right now. But I don't think it's going to be slack when we're done with everything because that should lift the middle of the plane up, or the middle of the wing.
Okay.
Okay, well, I mean, 400 more bolts to go.
Sweet.
But honestly, this is probably the hardest thing to do, so I kind of want to show it, even though it's a little bit tedious. That's the other thing too, is you guys want to know how tedious these planes are when you buy them. This is pretty tedious. But like, what are they going to do? What, are they just going to build it in the factory? No. It costs a fortune to ship a finished plane like this. So then this thing rocks up into place, and that's why they're on the inside like that.
Does that seem like it tightened up a little bit?
It absolutely tightened up.
Okay.
Yeah, you see how much tighter
yeah.
it is?
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool, actually, that tightened up the way it did. I've never built one with these supports like this. I don't think I have. Oh, that's right, yeah, because I've built a few biplanes, but they've never actually had the lines.
No.
Okay, I got to come back to that one because I feel like, listen, look, see how it's pulling? That needs to go on the inside. Do you see how that's going? Mm-hmm. That's pulled tight. That's not good. That's not appropriate. So I got to undo this nut.
So the short wire needs to go on the inside.
Inside, yeah. If that's the only mistake we made on this, that would be really good. I would feel like we had a huge victory. Oh, we haven't seen where we made a mistake right at the beginning yet?
Step 1.
This is gonna be one of those videos where we come back.
I see it.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, the camera crew is gonna get it then. Thank you, camera crew. Mm-hmm. That was very good of you. Thanks for grabbing my nuts for me.
You're welcome.
I could always trust you to do that. Okay, there we go. Oh, stay put, you. So I think what's going to happen is when we're done with this assembly, then we got to try to figure out the tail. And honestly, the tail's got me kind of baffled.
Yeah.
So, but process of elimination should be a lot easier once we get to that point. So I think we're still in a pretty promising position to have success. So let's try this. This one's going to go to here. Okay. And then that one is going to go to here. And honestly, I don't know which one's going to go first. So let's get the cross members on both sides done. Because remember, that should pull everything taut to where it's going to more or less stay put.
Okay.
Okay. In its general position. We still have a decal to put on the top wing.
Yep.
Oh, that's really cool. Look at that. Look
So,
how
yeah.
tight everything is getting. That's so cool. Man, I wish I had 3 hands right now. Oh, son of a gun.
Your screws stay. Okay.
Okay, so that's why they were saying don't tighten everything yet. So here's what I need to do. I need to somehow magically hold the nut whilst holding the screw, whilst holding the frame, whilst holding the top of the wing, whilst
Filming it.
holding the nuts. Got it. Started, sort of, but not really. The nut's not cooperating now all of a sudden. It's mutinying. Come on, you little turd. Get in there. Okay. Okay, well, no, I think I got it. I think I got it. Did I? Did I get it? No, I didn't. It's slipping off, dang it. Okay, so I had trouble with that one. It was like the nut was cross-threaded or something. And so I kept dropping it and having all sorts of grief. So anyway, so obviously the front one's in front and then the back one's right behind. Then the next one I think is going to be this one. And then the last one should be this one, but I'm not sure. We have to test that theory now. So at this point you could probably, you know, feed these wires in just a hair more as you kind of go. We're all said and done. I don't know if we'll use a piece of tape or if we're going to use a zip tie or what we're going to use to get those things secured to the strut, the wing support. What do you call that thing? I don't actually know what it is. Okay, so we haven't run out of hardware yet either, so that's generally a good sign. So there's at least 4 left. And that leaves a total of 4, which could be used for the back. And then a handful of machine, and then all sorts of springs and stuff. So I'm kind of hoping that we're not supposed to be using springs, because they did give us a crap load of springs, and it's not impossible that the springs were supposed to be used on these. And we'll find out pretty quick here, because we're getting down to the end. Okay, so I have to turn the plane so that I can reach the next step, which is going to be trying to do these. Not really looking forward to this step, actually. Okay, so this step is definitely going to suck. Okay, so this one has to go to here. Okay. Except if this one goes to there, yep, that's right, this one goes first. And if you're following along and trying to do this yourself, I don't want to say it's hard, it's just kind of hard to know what you're doing next until you get there. And you just kind of got to do one step at a time until the plane is done, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, look at that, it's a PT-17. Come on, man. This is going to be an awkward one too, because I'm underneath the wing. That's why they said don't tighten stuff. Okay. If you had a nut driver, you could hypothetically use a nut driver for this step, but I don't know what size the nuts are. They're probably 5mm. but I don't know. Oh, I already got them. It's gonna look cool. Mm-hmm. Hope it flies as good. This is a lot of work to put together. Of course, you guys have already seen it fly, so if it flies good, generally in my book, it's worth a little bit of effort to put together. But if it flies like crap, then that's gonna suck. A lot of work for a plane if it ends up being a poor flying plane. It's sure pretty though, geez. I kind of doubt it's gonna be bad flying. Okay, so still not tightened, but looks really cool. I sure hope we did that right. It doesn't really look extremely obvious on the drawing.
No.
But it's not impossible that those were supposed to overlap too, hon. That
What,
would not
from corner to corner, you mean?
No, like this was supposed to go under that one and vice versa.
Oh.
That's not an impossibility. But we haven't tightened them all the way yet either.
Right.
So I feel like if you did that, you might have a really hard time getting things together. Guess we'll find out right now. Okay, so camera crew where do I go from this one? Do I go this one first or do I go the other one first?
You did that one first on the other one. On the other side.
Good.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, it's right in front of the fridge.
Yeah. It was weird it was going under the fridge.
Yeah, that would be fun. So I'm sort of torn on this because I want to film the whole process for you guys, but this is like so boring. This is probably not the most exciting part of the build. It's going to be pretty cool when it comes together, I think. But I'm just wondering if we should be filming this part. Drew, what do you think?
Well, I mean, we're kind of in it now.
Yeah, we are fully in it. That's true.
If we think we're right when we're done getting them loosely assembled,
then we could probably just pause while we tighten everything up.
yeah, and then if we're wrong, we'll
Fix it all off camera.
yeah.
Pretend like we were right. See, that would be what smart people would do. We're not that smart.
We haven't gotten there yet.
We haven't figured that out yet. Okay, so in you go. I'd be lying if I said this was harder than I thought. It's actually been pretty easy. It's just a matter of we kind of probably got a little bit lucky.
Yeah, it's just a little bit time consuming.
A little bit. Okay, so technically at this point, I am going through now and I am going to start torquing down screws. There's probably a correct way to do this, and I'm going to do it the way I feel like doing it, which is however it works out.
Okay.
I am honestly can say without a shadow of doubt that I am not sure that it matters. I have a pair of needle nose pliers here to arrest the nut as I torque on the screw. Okay. And these wires need to be ooh, got to tighten here too. Boy, that's not awkward at all. It is weird because like everything is tightening up the way I expect it to as I tighten the screws. And I didn't know what to expect. So far, so good. I just feel like there's so many different fiery pits that you could fall in doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I should be doing this from the other side if I want to be honest with myself. I can maybe sit on this chair and reach it easier. Gluing in that piece was not a desirable experience. The piece that covers the wing spars on the top wing. And it's a little bit disappointing because I feel like they had plenty of room in the box to go ahead and put that as an assembled piece. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my nut and try to torque this down. Oh yeah, I got it tight. Tight like a toiga. Ooh, that needs to be tight. It's not. See why the screws all go the same direction now?
Why?
I don't know. I'm just saying they just happen to all be going the same direction.
Oh.
So I don't know if that adds to say that we did it right, or I feel like these would be taut if they were overlapped, and because they're not tight.
But we had them the other way first on the front side, and it was still slack.
No, because they weren't all torqued down like everything. Well, when we do the other wing, it might tighten them up too. I'm just not sure if those were supposed to overlap. Because if they overlapped, I feel like it would tighten it. And they would cross right at the same spot, you know? We'll have to see how it goes. Okay. So this one's tight. This one's gonna get tight. It's so funny too, with a plane that's got so many screws involved, I think it's like weird that you even have to glue any of this stuff together. You would think that with that much hardware involved, that Dynam would have probably just worked out having this not require any glue. So far, so good. Whoops. It's possible too that when we're all done with this, it's going to tighten up, like the last set of screws will tighten up the entire wing. I'm not sure whether or not to hold my breath on that or not. See how that tightened?
Yeah.
It's because those things, you can point in whatever direction you want.
So I wonder if rotating them around to the bottom and then, or so that they're all opposite of where they are, would make them have to reach further.
I'm sorry, what now?
If you rotated them all, like right now you have them
Pointed
pointed so
down.
they're going to the shortest distance.
Yeah, like if I were to torque it, like if I would tweak it to the side, like if I did this and then tighten it like that.
Yeah. I don't know if it would stay or if it's going to naturally just
Relax itself, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work either. I can tell you that it's really hard to get to this spot with a second tool because there's so much going on the plane. Okay, so that's tight. So I got one more up there to tighten, and that's it. Once this one's tightened, then we'll know if we screwed it up or not.
Will we?
We'll know if we like the way it looks or not. I mean, honestly, when you have lift, see that little block that we glued in there? It's wanting to relieve itself and pop out on this side, but not the other side for some reason. So then this, I feel like what you were talking about, how you could put them at a certain angle. See how they look nice and tight, but I feel like if they were overlapped, they would actually be tight. So I'm honestly not sure if they're supposed to be together or not. Sure seems like that would be ideal, as if the idea is to stiffen the wing, then you'd want them to be tight. The drawing doesn't really say, does it? Yeah, it doesn't really say. Shoot.
Because see, there's numbers here, but those numbers don't correspond to anything else that I can see.
Yeah. There's springs on the top and bottom of that, aren't there?
That's on the tail.
On the tail. Well, this could be left, or we could try to overlap them to pull them tight. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure which way it's supposed to be.
Does it feel like secure, the wing assembly?
I want to try one and just see how hard it is to do this. Because it's just a matter of doing 4 screws to resolve that if that's truly wrong. I don't want to say it's wrong because I don't know if it's wrong. Because the instructions are ambiguous about this step. I just want to see how much better it looks. Because really, I think at this point, if you really get right down to it, it's not a structural issue, it's a looks issue. But let's see how it looks. It does feel like it's tightening up the whole thing. You see how it's tightening everything up?
Is the other side, the other one tighter too? The short one?
Well, see, if you did that both ways, I just don't know what it's supposed to do, though.
Right.
So let's just do that on both sides and see how much better or worse it is. I feel like it probably looks a little bit better when it's tight. And I feel like it holds the wing in a better position when it's tight. Because otherwise, like you said, they're just going to slack themselves over the first few flights as the wings get buffeted around in flight. These are definitely the easiest ones to undo if you're going to undo something, though. So I would definitely, that's where I would do it. This thing should have been plastic. See? I don't think it's going to have very high survivability. See, I think that's going to be the way to do it.
So can you do the same thing
Yes.
on the other pair?
Yeah, well, yeah, I should be able to just undo whichever one's the easiest to undo. I think this one's probably the easiest to undo. So if you get it wrong, don't freak out. Just undo the 4 screws and redo them. You'll be fine. Our front canopy didn't get glued very good, did it? At the factory.
Oh yeah, I know so.
I wonder if I should staple it, or not staple it. Do some sort of a
Just glue it.
fastener. Well, that's what they did, but I think part of the problem is the plastic looks like it's got a little bit of a thing in it, like a bump or dent. It'd be kind of nice if I didn't lose that first time we fly.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do it right, did I? Or did I? I went outside. Yeah, outside's right. I had to go around it.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it gonna pull tight?
I think so.
That's tensioning it. Tensioning both of them.
Yeah.
That's gotta be what it's supposed to be. It just feels, it just looks,
it looks better.
It looks better when it's tight like that. When it's, When it's not, it just looks like you made a mistake.
And now your X's cross at the same point. They weren't like exactly right before.
They cross at the same point now?
Well, I mean, it depends on what way you're looking at them, I guess.
I was just gonna say, how would that happen? Okay, so we're gonna undo this one. And I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to understand the difference until you get ready to build your own. But I just feel like it's gonna make a big difference in the fit and finish here. So I would encourage you to do whatever it takes to get them tight.
And I don't know, it's going to be hard to, if people are like trying to follow along, but on this bracket, it comes up to this angle. If you can make yours look like that.
That's the one that's the weirdest to figure
Yep.
out.
And then I mentioned earlier, there's a little bump on the back one back here. That's on the back on Brian's. Because I'm afraid people are going to ask, and it's like impossible to.
Yeah, they're gonna ask me like
Figure
in
it
3
out.
years after
Yeah.
I've like moved on to hundreds of different planes,
200 more planes.
and they're gonna wonder if I can just answer for them, even though we filmed the answer.
But it's still hard to tell. And our brackets, so the metal bracket is on the outside, and the black bracket is on the inside.
It's easy to tell which position they go in like this, but it's not easy to tell what direction they go like this. See, this goes back, okay? And then this one is flat. It's a 90-degree angle. And then that one goes at a slight angle, okay? So that's what's hard to figure out. It's not hard to figure out which way it goes here, because that's super obvious.
That one still didn't tension as much. Or wait, have you done that one yet?
I did that one,
You
and
did
you're
that
right.
one?
Let go. You're right, it didn't tension worth a crap. I don't know why that one didn't tension though. Because that one over there tensioned for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I wonder if this thing, if that's part of my problem there, is that this thing is at a weird angle. Or if I need to try to spin that around like we had talked about to tension it. See what I just did?
Yeah, that helped.
That tensioned it a lot. Mm-hmm. And then I guess on all of them that need to have more tension, you kind of just have to move the arm to where it tensions them. I don't even think that's right. I just think it's the way it is.
Right.
Okay, so now that we have that part done, what's the next step? And can you help me with those instructions, please? Hold those tight. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to look at those wheels.
Yeah.
So let's,
Well, we need to do decals, but then we need to do whatever
yeah,
the
let's do
tail things
decals.
are.
Then the wing is done. Okay, so these ones go,
On the outside.
yep, on the outside. Okay, that's easy enough. It's been a lot of work. This thing better fly great.
How long has this video been?
I don't know, longer than most people are gonna watch. If you're still watching, you're in the extreme minority of awesome, wonderful subscribers. Or maybe
And
you're not
if you
subscribed
haven't
yet.
subscribed,
Please
you
subscribe.
should.
Yes, if you like this, you'll love our channel. Okay, so the star point, the tip is gonna go up. I'm just gonna try to put it central. Okay. Okay, so I favor just a little bit forward weighted. Seemed to work pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to be 1, 2, 3 in from the center. So 1, 2, 3 in, and then weighted forward. And I'm just lining up the tip of the the star, and then this spot where the legs come together, the crotch. Is that what that is? I mean, that's what it is of the star.
I think it's the crotch.
I don't know. Somebody needs to look it up. Area where the legs
Sure
come
has a
together.
name.
That looks pretty sweet.
It does look pretty sweet.
Those wires, I want to pull those in because they're devastatingly ugly when they stick out funny like that. Did you guys see what I was talking about? How my canopy is kind of goofed up? That's unfortunate. I wonder if I can just squish it down really hard. You suppose if I glued it, it would just stay down there?
I don't know.
I kind of doubt it. I want to glue it while I'm fixing devastatingly ugly things that are messed up. Because, like, you're not going to notice it, but I'm going to know it's there.
Well, I just don't want it to come off.
Yeah, I agree. So I just got a little glob in there. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape that down with the understanding that this tape is never coming off.
Yep.
Because as soon as you try to take this tape off, it's going to be a humongo mess. You're going to ruin all the finish here. Well, that didn't work very good.
It didn't?
No. It taped nicely onto the plastic, but didn't really hold it down very well.
Oh.
See, that one worked way better.
Yeah. It's not bad.
So now we'll see if that's strong enough to hold it.
Okay.
I think I got enough glue in there. It's going to be fine. Okay, so now these wires, I can just tug those in just like this. Hey, maybe you wrap these things with black. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do.
No, they're most definitely yellow.
Well, I know they're yellow, but we didn't get those yellow pieces. And honestly, I don't know if I'd want yellow pieces there if they weren't going to have yellow pieces out here. Is it possible that we just missed it somewhere in one of the bags?
I mean, no. Yeah, but not really.
Yeah, we're usually pretty careful about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a channel here. It looks like you might be able to run your wires through, but I'm not sure. I don't know if that's going to reach. So I think what we're going to have to do is we'll have to slip that in there, and then I'm just going to stick that right there for now. I'm just going to pull that in and then just drop it down. Drop it like it's hot.
We still have to plug stuff in.
Yeah. Ailerons, might as well do it right now. Oops, brown goes this way. Okay, so the aileron Y cable is plugged in. All right, so then this is R for rudder. Why was that not plugged in?
Don't know.
That's weird. Shouldn't that have been plugged in since it's right there? And then these are the lights, so
Wait, you
there's
have
a
that
controller.
thing.
Well, I know, but I was just thinking about, you see how this has a brown, a red, and an orange? Then it goes to this little controller, which says LS receiver J flashing or on. So there's a flashing choice and an on choice. So it looks like in this case, there's 3 flashing choices and 2 not flashing choices. So in this case, the black goes to the brown, like so. Shoosh, that's hard to plug in. And then the black goes to the brown, like so, okay? And then this thing is just like any other servo. So if you don't have an open channel, you can plug it into a Y cable and then steal power from any of your other channels, okay? So then this thing, that's a little bit scary, so I'm just gonna actually slide that. I'm gonna see if I can slide that in. No, that isn't gonna work. We're gonna tape over that because I do not want that to go around poking into everything that walks.
That's usually bad.
Can have devastating results. So if you don't tape over this, then, you know, it should be no big deal except for if it shorts out onto another important component. So the way I'm going to protect it is I'm just going to tape flat like this, and then I'm just going to fold it over and just make it very simple and easy, and that's good enough for what we're doing. So then I can just plop this down underneath the board, and then take these wires and kind of plop them down under the board and just get all the wires under there for the moment. You do want to keep those away from where your linkages are. And you remember earlier how I wanted to try to get things even on the elevator, but I didn't worry about their absolute position? That's because we can adjust that here with one screw, and then we can adjust what the position is once we get the servo centered, okay? And same thing kind of here a little bit. I'm going to separate those two wires so I can get those to kind of flank on either side. That's going to be a Bearcat to put the wires in. I mean, to put the battery in.
What is that servo wire that comes all the way from the front?
That's the ESC. So for the throttle.
Yeah, that's got to be there.
Oh yeah, it's got to be there. I mean, we could put it underneath, but that's, I mean, they didn't bother to do it, so why would I? So, all right, this thing looks really nice.
It does.
It's beautiful. And it's also not done because we have to finish the tail and we have to finish the wheels. So let's look at this tail section, camera crew. So we've got a spare carbon fiber rod, some spare screws. We've got these two things. And then we've got some spare control arms, control horns. Then we've got the tools, and we've got the extra glue, which is nice. And we've got tools that we had out. And I'm just sitting here thinking, what else do we need? Well, we've got two springs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so then we have two spares. I'm just trying to think of the conceivable ways that these could be split up. And I just don't know what they would be. We do have plenty. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but not 8. Ugh. And then we have 4 of those, but not 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
See, on those short ones, like does that hook just? Or
Yes.
No, the spring would hook.
That one's the only one that's open.
Yeah.
So that's why it's misleading. Okay, so this is how this works. You have a spring on the top and the bottom, okay? This is going to be an almost certain thing, okay? That makes up the difference in length, okay? And it might just be a spring on the top or just a spring on the bottom. Let's try down here first. Make sure that they go on. I don't think it matters which direction you do it. Jeez. Get in there, you little turd. There we go. Got it.
Okay.
This isn't tedious and frustrating at all. It's just a joy. Just a joy.
Just good quality time.
I'm sorry I just blocked your light when I did that. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so that sucks pretty bad
Is
because
that-
it's not tight.
The long one or the short one though?
That's the longer one.
So you need to make sure the short one fits on the other side before we get too much further, right?
Yeah, and I think I want to do it over there because then I can sit and maybe I can see what I'm doing a little easier.
Why would you want to do that?
It does look gorgeous.
It's cool.
It's
looking.
really pretty. It's going to look really nice in the sky too, I think.
Yeah.
Especially around here. I think they might, I don't know if it's a PT-17, but they have a biplane that flies around in crop dusts around here. And it's really cool looking. See, this one that's got that extra hook on it, I think that's just a manufacturing defect. Actually, camera crew, do you have those pliers close by? They're down on the
down
other
here.
end. Because I'm thinking what you were thinking, which is we need to know if the long one goes underneath. Oh, wow. That's a short one. See, you'd have to have quite a few springs there to make that work.
Hey, wait.
What? What?
Okay, see how here? No, maybe that's all from the back. Like, look, from the top down. Sorry, can't even. Under the flag, there's a little notch. Would the thing, no, there's not another spot. Sorry, I thought maybe it went in the middle. And the short one hooked onto the long one somewhere.
Okay, so the long one is what we used up there, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, the short one is definitely what we need underneath. But I'm just wondering if we have to just stretch out the springs quite a bit to get them on.
Well, you have 2 extra springs.
Yeah, maybe we just use 2
You could
springs.
hook your springs together.
I'm not sure. That would kind of make sense. I mean, it would be stupid, but well, we can totally do that.
But if it works.
No, that works. It's plenty good. It's definitely going to make it. See?
Okay.
As long as it reaches, who cares, right?
Right. I don't.
So then this one was just a manufacturing flaw here. So I'm just going to try to close this a little bit. Oh boy, that is extremely hard to bend. Okay, never mind. I guess I'm not going to bend that. All right, so camera crew, what are your thoughts on this plane? Other than it was super easy to put together.
One of the easiest.
And we're not done yet either.
No, I know. It looks really cool.
I think it's a lot of work to put together.
I know, but the little details are what makes it
Cool.
really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of have to reserve judgment until I see it fly.
I agree.
None of it has been overly challenging. It's just like a lot of little steps.
It would help if you had better instructions.
Yes.
So like if you watch our video, you'd actually be in a pretty good shot.
If there were
at
good
having
instructions, none of this would be quite as challenging.
Yeah, that's true. Because I would say that was one of the biggest issues. But honestly, it's like you can either have no instructions or you can have a few instructions or you can have correct amount of instructions. And you almost never get the correct amount of instructions in RC. I mean, part of the fun is figuring out that you did it wrong while it's flying.
And it's more challenging for us because we're filming too, so.
I feel like this, you almost don't want the slack. Almost like we just need to get rid of one of these.
I don't think it's gonna reach though, is it?
I'm not sure. I guess it depends on if I can get it to hook. Yeah, it's gonna be way too hard on it. I just think the springs are about just a little bit too long. There we go. But you see it's slacked, which I'm not crazy about. It looks right.
It doesn't look as slack though as when the wires were slack, since it's an
Yeah,
actual
I agree with that,
rod.
totally. So now, okay, so we have an extra spring, we have 4 extra screws. There's also like these things.
Those seem like they should be important, maybe.
They kind of are, but I'm not sure where they go. Unless you're supposed to, do like more strings that I don't know about.
But we don't have any more strings.
And then these things, the wires that come down for the LEDs, why didn't they include anything to secure that with? Seems like there would be something that you need to secure that with, hon. What do you think? It's obviously not this hardware.
Well, if you had those canopy supports, the yellow ones, I wonder if you would run them in there and it would just kind of help hold the wire.
Yeah, you would have 4. I wonder if we just like missed it somewhere in the package. We almost certainly missed it somewhere. Okay, this is what I'm doing because I'm just getting the job done now at this point. I'm just going to push that down tight. Then I'm going to use clear tape. And I'm just going to push that. And that way when we're flying, it doesn't buffet in the wind like crazy. Make all sorts of problems for us.
Okay, you want to know one thing that I'm kind of disappointed about?
What? No pilot?
Yeah, because in the picture there's 2 pilots.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
where's the guy?
I can tell you this. Generally speaking, in my experience, the pilots are always really, really crappy.
Yeah, that's true too.
Except for in the nicest planes. I mean, I agree. I'd like to have a scale pilot. And by the way, the pilot's back here, so that'd be cool. Because
There's two on the picture.
No, I know. I realize there's one in that. Oh, that's a real picture. Just kidding. I knew that. Okay, so I'm satisfied with this. I'm satisfied with the prop. I want to just double check I can't tighten that anymore. I just loosened it. That was smart.
This seems, okay, so when you get a plane that's ready to fly and it comes with the transmitter and the battery and all of that kind of stuff, to me, that's more of like a
Toy.
well, or more of like an entry-ish
Entry level.
This is not an entry-level assembly.
But Dynam, or BitGo Hobby in this case, offers these in more than one finish level. And that's something that previously was not available from the place where I got my Dynam product, which I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of mentioning their name because they won't send me an AL-37. Look at this. That thing is gorgeous.
It is. It's a cool
Okay,
plane.
so I had something else I needed to do, camera crew. What was it? It was important. I know we got to obviously do the radio stuff, but I feel like I'm forgetting something that was otherwise important. Like this, I don't like that. We are going to resolve that right now.
Can you just use more decal?
That's what I was thinking. We'll just use like a bigger piece of decal. That'll take care of that.
I want to know where the black decals go because they're there.
No, I agree. I don't know where they go. It seems to me like it would probably go, it could go around here, but I don't know.
But you would be able to see that on the picture, I would think.
That's true. You would definitely be able to see it. So on this one, I'm just going to cut something like that. I'm just going to kind of square it up. And then I might need your help on this one, camera crew, so that I can really kind of get it pushed in there while I'm seating the tape.
Can I pinch?
Yeah, just pull. No, you got to pull harder.
Wait, but I don't want to squish the foam.
Like you're trying to break it. Okay, good job. I got it. It's good. That'll help hold the nose together. Because that's one of the only real, like, legitimate structural concerns I have. These things, I felt like that was a bit afterthoughty. I mean, I could actually glue those all the way down the length. That would resolve some of the conflict I'm having.
And you have plenty of glue.
I do. Yeah, there was a lot of extra glue. So that's good. I feel like there should have been plugs here too. It's almost like we missed one container of plugs and foam.
Is that...
Okay, so the next step, of course, is going to be the radio setup, which there isn't probably a lot of radio setup unless we have to switch from mode 1 to mode 2 or something like that. But I think what we're going to do is we're just going to clean up our tools and then we'll come right back for the radio setup part. Okay, so 75 to 80 millimeters is our CG. We were thinking we were done with our build, but we're not quite done because we have to measure that and mark it. So in our case, we've got the world's cheapest calipers. So we're going to go to 75 millimeters and we're going to go back from the leading edge of the wing root. And we're just going to double check there's not already a mark, and there isn't. And in this case, I'm going to just, oops. Okay, so there's 75. And then 80 is there. Okay, so I've got a spot where I can kind of see where the mark is. Right there and right there. Okay, same thing on the other side. You got to find a spot where you can actually get your hands in on this plane too because of the struts.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's the back one. And then the front one is going to be right there. So I've just learned that sometimes it's easier to just Make your spots so you can feel them easily. And then obviously without the battery, it's pretty close already. That's very surprising, but also very promising because typically the CG is challenging on this type of an application. So the battery, the lights are totally off on this charger. So I'm just gonna unplug this. We're gonna use this little tester. Okay, so it's at 94% according to this. 94%, which is a little bit weird that it would only be at 94%, but it's just kind of a plain Jane charger, so I'm not gonna expect the sun, moon, and stars from it. I'm just gonna be happy with what we get. Oh, and then look at this. You guys might wanna look at that too, see? So it's a good thing we checked that right now on purpose, not by accident. We're gonna take some tape and we're gonna make a tape hinge. I was telling you, I thought that might not survive very long. So good thing that decal's there. Yeah. Goodness gracious. So the way I'm gonna do this is super easy. I'm just gonna cut about 2 to 3 inches of tape. I'm gonna run the tape, and this is gonna be just identical to what we did with the, oh shoot, I need that little black screwdriver though. I stuck it in the drawer.
Yep, I got it.
Okay, this is the provided screwdriver. So I'm just gonna walk that all the way back. And then that's just gonna be our tape hinge. On both sides, we gotta do that, of course. That's one way. Now you can also cut in a foam hinge as well. That's another way you can do it. But in our case, I can definitely tell you that the hinge, the compression hinge is not strong enough on this plane, so you're gonna wanna reinforce that one way or another, or both. So I'm just sticking that down so I get lots of contact area. Probably could have stood to be a little bit longer on this one. And just slide that down in. And then just tape that through the joint. Okay, then that's gonna be allowed to pivot, but you see we got a little bit too sloppy on that. So we're gonna do that a couple more times just to kind of hold it where it needs to be. This might be a good time to just pop the control horn off so that we can move it free. Okay, so that's off of there. So now that that's free, we can turn this really sharp, and you can actually run that right down into the joint. And you're probably thinking to yourself, but that doesn't look very strong. Well, it's as strong as you make it. If you use really cheap crappy tape, then it'll be very weak and very poor. If you use a high quality tape and you get it really deep down into the bottom of that valley, then you'll get a good contact and you'll be fine. Okay, now I'm gonna turn it the other way. Do the exact same thing on the other side. And I'm just gonna do this a couple of times until I feel like it's solid. And it doesn't actually need to even be square. You just have to have it tight down into this valley. Okay. And the nicer you do it, the less opportunity it'll have for getting little bumps. Okay. See? And I'm hitting the clevis over here. So when I pull the clevis out of the way, I feel like it needs one more contact point down at the bottom. It's just not very easy to get into that spot because there's a lot of stuff going on that spot. And this is just going to help to reinforce the little teeny bit of foam that's still attached. Okay. Pushing that down. Okay. And you see this thing, when this is working, it's not going to bump into that. Okay. And yes, there are planes that are made this way from the factory too. Normally it'd probably be a little bit more precision, but
maybe not.
I don't know. We've seen worse. I've seen a lot worse, actually. So I just use that, just walk it along until it's tight all the way down at the bottom of the valley. And then you can just manipulate that tape right where you need it. And once that's out of the way, you can see it's free to move back and forth. And then I'll probably do just a little bit more up at the top. I don't know if you guys noticed the trick here is it's not hard to do, but it's just about volume on this, because you're just making redundant connection points. And the more redundancy you have, the more likelihood of holding. See, and it just doesn't have anywhere to go then.
Right.
And you can obviously buy different styles of hinges and things like that if you want to do that, but I just don't want to waste my time on it, because this is going to work probably just about as good. And it'll keep very little stress on the servo itself, because the servo doesn't have to overwhelm a bunch of that plastic binding up on itself. Okay, so now I'm gonna actually go to the middle hole. I don't think it needs to be all the way inside necessarily. We'll find out though if I'm wrong. Ooh, but see, now it's misaligned. Well, I guess I gotta go to the outside hole, or the inside hole, so that it matches this. Oh, that's just not tightened enough. Did you see what happened there, camera crew?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to the outside hole here, or the inside hole rather. See how it's the inside hole here? That's the inside hole. And this needs to be tight so that doesn't walk. These are kind of like finishing touches, you know. It's something that I just moved the servo so that this would straighten up somewhat. Ooh, that's not lined up very well at all, is it now? We'll see if that causes a problem or not. Got that really tight now, so hopefully that'll stay in tune. All right, so now the last thing we got to do that's totally not something we can do without is we need to fix these main wheels that are super duper sticky. So now you could just try to lubricate the shaft, but I don't know if that's enough. Because you feel that thing has just got a lot of resistance on it. And so I'm just trying to think if the easiest thing to do would be to get a drill. I'm gonna go grab a drill. I'll be right back. Okay. So we got a drill, 9/64 and 5/32. Those are the two sizes. I'm just a little bit below on this. And so I'm just gonna run the drill and just walk it around and just kind of take a little teeny bit of the material out so that when I slide this back onto the shaft, you see it's still got a little bit of resistance. Just a little teeny bit of pressure, not a lot. If you do a lot, you're gonna overdo it. See how much better that is, guys? It's like night and day better. Okay, so we're gonna do that to both sides, and then we'll come right back.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so basically we'll just show you the other side too, because we've already done so much on this build. It's actually been a pretty straightforward thing, with the exception of the
brackets.
linkage. Yeah, the wires were a little bit confusing. And then what appears to be either missing or a change of design. Okay, so just a little teeny bit. You can just kind of see that plastic on my thumb. I just barely do any. And make sure it's free though, because if it's not free, you're gonna regret it, because you will immediately nose over this plane. It will not be charitable at all to you, I guarantee it. Because these things are already tend to be real easy to nose over. Okay, so we've established that the CG is also good. The other thing is like this little piece here, I'm probably gonna have to put a clamp on that to hold that there. Mine had a little bit of a curl in it. So if I clamp that, maybe like a chip clip or something that's weak.
We don't need big ones. It's gonna mark the
What?
finish.
That won't mark the finish
Don't
that
think so?
bad. No, it's just holding it in there. It's weak enough that it's just holding it. So we have a chip clip on ours. So make sure you don't test the CG with a chip clip on. And without further ado, the next thing will be the radio setup. So we'll come right back for that. Okay, folks. So we were getting ready to do the radio setup part of this video. And I realized that I had run into and unplugged my charger on accident. So as a result, it's not fully charged, but it's charged enough to show you the testing. So we will come back. Our first charge will be on this battery, and then we'll probably fly it on Smart Packs too. So just so you guys can see how it works. But so far, I'm actually really impressed with the included charger because I got 1,000,000 chargers, and that charger is pretty nice for a ready to fly plane. So usually ready to fly means you get the cheapest, crappiest one that they have ever sold. So throttle cut doesn't exist on here that I know of. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hold that stick down and I'm gonna secure the plane. And my camera crew is gonna make sure she's in a safe spot. Because if something goes wrong, I wanna make sure that I don't have people getting hurt. Okay, so obviously the battery's gonna go into this. There's two nice, thick, it's the heavy duty straps. Nice. Yeah, those are really nice straps actually. And I'm just gonna slide that up there and just set it right there. Oh yeah, super easy going. Oh, transmitter's on now. This is a flashing red light. And there's green lights on. I don't know if I have to go through a bind process. Obviously I'm gonna hit the bind button. Oh, bind button. And then I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here. Throttle up, throttle down. It just occurs to me that I don't know exactly how to start this, so I'm gonna do that right now. So after reading, we got a little bit of conflicting information. So we're gonna have this off, throttle stick in the lowest position, and the sticks where you want them. Okay, so I just have the sticks in whatever position they are. Battery's installed, and then I'm gonna plug it in, and you'll notice immediately this starts going to a fast flash. And then you have to press this for like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Then it goes to slow flash, then turn on the transmitter, and we have a green light. Now it's bound. So this is where you want to be careful. Throttle up, throttle down. Okay. So it's beeping at me. Oh, there's 3 modes.
Hold on, I think it's initializing. You might want to wait a second.
Oh, okay.
Is it still fast flashing?
No, it's done.
Oh.
So now I'm not sure if that means it's just good to go and I can unplug this. I'm gonna unplug that. Now I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna turn it back on just to be safe. Let it boot. Okay. So that's beeping a lot. So I don't know if that means like it's ticked off about my throttle position. The ailerons are working. The elevator's working. It needs to be reversed. The rudder's working. But it also needs to be reversed. So rudder needs to be reversed. The elevator needs to be reversed. Okay, so that's right. The rudder's going the right direction now. So now the next thing would be if throttle needs to be reversed, that would be potentially not good. Because if throttle needs to be reversed, that means it's in the all the way up position. Okay? So still not sure. I also have 3 different modes. So there's one mode, there's another mode, and there's another mode. Elevator, ailerons, and rudder. Okay, I don't know what that does. We'll find out. I don't know what that does. We'll find out. Okay, so the last thing to try would be to unplug that. You can see I had to flip a couple of these switches. This is a servo reversing. We don't have this in the wrong setting. We have it in high and low rates. It definitely bound right away. So all I had to do was press and hold the bind button for about 2 seconds, and then it bound. So now the only thing we're trying to figure out is why is the ESC beeping at me like that? So let's just double check. The throttle is plugged into the throttle channel. I'm gonna reverse my throttle, which this is something you guys gotta be careful about. I'm reversing the throttle channel. Typically you wouldn't wanna do that, but I'm gonna do it with the plane held carefully, okay? It's gonna work. Okay. So it was not reversed, but I know what happened.
Okay.
And I can explain it. So I'm going to do that now. The battery's unplugged. That's why you got to be careful to secure your plane. And typically you set them up with the... Okay, so the throttle's in the right condition. So now it's down. The trim would have had to been pushed down a few clicks, and that would have initiated things. Because the receiver never received the full -100 or 0% output. And that's why I did that. So now we're going to try this again safely, holding everything. Watch this. Throttle sticks down. Everything's working otherwise, right? Now watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now it's going to arm. Okay, so now throttle. So throttle's working. I'm going to give a couple extra trips for good measure.
Yeah.
Now that we know everything is working, I'm just going to see what all the modes do. Okay, first of all, okay, so stabilizer's working. So as I lift the tail, it's resisting movement. And then as I rotate, when I move this way, the rudder goes that way. And when I move this way, the rudder's going to come this way. So that's stabilization. And then I don't think we're in auto leveling yet.
Hey, there's a chart in here for
That's
the
okay.
light.
Oh, look, it's in auto leveling. See? So it's attempting to bring the plane level, but I think it's doing it backward. So that means my ailerons might be backward. See, when I move the stick this way, it pushes that aileron up, which would bring the wing down, and then this aileron down, which would bring that wing up. So that's correct, 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 and correct. However, our rudder is not centered well. So that's a mechanical adjustment we can make really easily with a screwdriver. And in this case, I'm just gonna grab, I think we need kind of a big screwdriver for this.
We're below 5%.
So the big screwdriver comes in here. Nope, we're gonna use a small screwdriver. So those extra pieces we had, Megan,
Yeah.
camera crew, were actually for the control horn. So look what we're gonna do, guys. This is super easy. You're gonna grab this, you're gonna wiggle the rudder so you know which one you're dealing with. You're gonna loosen that, then you're just gonna walk this to the centered position so that you're satisfied with it. You're just gonna move this right to where the rudder is centered satisfactorily. Okay, then you're gonna tighten this. And we have our mechanical trim done on the rudder. Now on the elevator, we're obviously centered there, so now I'm gonna just loosen this screw, and then I'm just gonna pull this so that it centers like that, and then I'm gonna tighten it. So now we have a mechanically centered control surface. And then when you pull back, it goes up and it goes down and it goes left and it goes right and everything is nice and solid. Ailerons do everything they need to do. And then the other thing I would like to look into is if there is a throttle cut that we can take advantage of, because that thing is pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
That's a lot of power.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Okay, so that's awesome. So far so good. Now there's other modes. So the mode all the way down is auto leveling, which looks like it's got a light, like a aqua color.
Yeah.
okay? Then there's a middle setting that's like a dark blue. Looks like stabilization is still working, but the auto leveling, I don't think there's auto leveling on that. And then this is probably nothing. So you can have stabilization and auto leveling off in the all the way up condition. Stabilization only is on in the middle, and then auto leveling is in the bottom, which is pretty awesome actually, because some people don't like it, so you can just turn it off. If you do like it, you can put it in the middle. So now adjusting gains and things like that, I don't know how to do that with this transmitter, and you may need some extra channels to assign that, or you may have to go in and turn trim pots or hook up to the computer or whatever. I don't know, we'll figure that out. But for now, first initial thoughts on this plane would be, it is beautiful. It is a pain to put together, that stuff. That is not fun. It's a little bit scary with that level of power and no throttle cut though, I must say, because I am a big believer in throttle cut. But boy, it is gorgeous. And I can't wait to see this thing fly. So in closing, you've probably already seen it fly. So I'm hoping it flies half as good as it looks, because that's going to be a victory in my book.
Yeah.
It's got a good charger. It's got a good transmitter. It's got stabilization, auto leveling. I mean, what does it not have? I mean, it comes with all those spare bolts to confuse you with.
It has LEDs and stuff.
Has
already.
LEDs. They're not bright.
No.
They're not going to help you unless it's, I mean, obviously you'll be able to see them, but they're not very omnidirectional.
Right. Yeah.
So I would not make this a night flyer just because there's a couple LEDs on there. It does come with an LED light controller, which is really cool. So really, to be honest, it's got all the features that you want. If you haven't bought it yet, hopefully the flight went really well. We haven't seen it fly, but you guys have. And all I can say is it is really pretty. And it's pretty big size too. We haven't really talked much about the size, but I'm 6 foot tall, 6'3" if you're selling me life insurance. And it goes up to about my waist. And the wingspan would be about the same. But that is a very pretty plane. Very gorgeous. I really like the way it looks. Those scale details with those wires are just incredible. So I really want this thing to fly so good. And you know, now that the wheels are free, that was honestly probably like my biggest complaint, because it was bad. But once you take the drill bit to those, would that take 2 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, 23 minutes on film, but
Yes, in
2
real
minutes
life.
for you guys.
Yep.
I am excited to see it fly.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And it won't even have a chip clip at that point.
Yeah, you have to provide your own chip clip.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's it. That's all I can say is this thing is gorgeous. It's a little bit hard to hold in pose, but it is really pretty. This is the Dynam PT-17, the Stearman. This is going to be a great choice for not a first plane, but I would probably tell you, it says experience level 3. There's 3 hashes on the box, so that makes me a little bit nervous. That must mean it's hard. But either way, if you want a beautiful plane to put on display, this will do it. If you want a plane that has stabilization and auto leveling, this will do it. And yes, you can get it ready to fly, which is incredible, and everything included. So we're gonna see if it's tear out the receiver and put in something better that we like better, or if it's gonna be just as good as I expect it will be. But if you wanna buy it, check the link in the description below. You help support the channel, and we would appreciate it if you're gonna buy it from there. And thanks for coming. If you're still watching, you're pretty special to us.